start streaming. The event is starting. I'm going to get to the page. Wait for it to catch up. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, catch up already. Come on. Ah, good. We've caught up. Well, folks, thank you for inviting us back into your living room, back into your phone, back into your laptop, or, you know, or if you're watching this up on Thunderbird 5, John Tracy, if you're watching, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Folks, it's been a little bit of a while since just before Christmas, but let's be frank. We came back in, I think it was very mid-September last year, and, after 3 months, the mind and the body can only take so much that you just need a little time out. And, I'd say Christmas was a much-needed rejuvenation. Like most Christmases, it goes by within the blink of an eye. You spend all these months, say from August or September onwards, just to have this momentous build-up, and then, just like that, it's gone. Although we hope Thanos is never around snapping his fingers around Christmas time. That would really make things uncomfortable and very awkward.
Oh, no.
You can imagine it. He's like the poster child for hangovers. It's like after Christmas, I am inevitable. In which case, don't be the picture of a hangover around Tony Stark when he has New Year's parties. Although the idea of Tony Stark with New Year's parties, like, no. Stephen Walker says, hello everyone. Dan says, hey MJ, I sent your Christmas present. Look for it in the mail. Sorry it took so long. Dan, late is better than never. Don't worry about it, man. It's all good. And Stephen says, though his mother had problems. Sorry to hear about that, man. Steve says, my mum's car broke down on Christmas Eve and got fined £150 by the police because the recovery service was late. Okay.
Sucks.
You pretty much said it. That kind of sucks. So her car breaks down, but she gets fined by the cops. Okay. Yeah, that makes no sense whatsoever. Not to get into too much of a personal thing, what did everybody else do for Christmas?
Mostly I stayed home. It was pretty boring.
For me, red velvet brownies. That was fun.
Brownies.
Easy there, Homer.
Hey there now. I'll eat my brownies when I want it. I'll make brownies from brownies and other brownies. The brownie, chocolate brownie. It'll be like, Homer, what the hell? And, on the subject of that, December 17, last month, The Simpsons officially hit 30.
Wow.
It's probably safe to say that in the last 30 years, doesn't matter if you were, born before The Simpsons began airing, or if you were born on the day of Simpsons roasting on an open fire, or if you were born in the 90s, or the 2000s, or at the start of this decade, at some point or another, you got introduced to Homer and Company.
Mm-hmm.
But Simpsons is one of those generational series that there are aspects of it that you can watch it from if you're 8 or 80. There's something that a lot of people can enjoy from it, although I feel like in recent years it doesn't have the same magic as what it once had. I think its best era, and this is my 2 cents personally, is around mid-90s to the early 2000s, particularly when you have episodes like Krusty Gets Cancelled, Flaming Moe's, when they had the crossover with the X-Files, or the one that I stumbled upon by pure accident, because at the time, in 2003, the Hulk movie was coming out, and I stumbled across this episode. I didn't know what the title was at the time, so I just referred to it as Hulkmer, and it was the episode where Stan Lee cameoed, and it was the one where Homer created the web series Angry Dad, because I think that was meant to be like akin to thing like Newgrounds.com, because that was very big in the early 2000s, and only just gotten better because of what happened with Tumblr a year or two ago. But it's just this idea of Homer getting so pissed off with all the antics Bart was doing, until eventually he just falls into this paddling pool full of green paint, where Homer's just all reenacting his stint as the Hulk, until it turns out that all the anger was going like to all these boils in his neck, and it was because Bart's antics finally made him sort of snap out of it. It actually saved Homer. And the line that slays me, and I appreciate it's just a gag written at the time, is where you see Stanley going, "He can't be the Hulk, I'm the Hulk," and comic book guy goes, "Oh please, you couldn't even change into Bill Bixby." And I'm like, oh. Although, to be fair to comic book guy, he is a pure savage. But yeah, that was definitely one of my more favorite episodes, and they're still talking about doing the follow-up to the movie. Personally, if they do the movie, I think that's the way they should end the show wholesale, because let's be frank, how much longer can that show keep going? That's a natural question.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. I think this could be it. Like,
Who
this is
knows at this point?
They're 30 years old. Maybe they should just call it a day. I mean, from what I've been hearing, I heard a rumor that like Hank Azaria is leaving the show. Yeah, that's like the big draw. It's like he does a lot of voices. He leaves. It's like, yeah, it's a problem.
Because Hank Azaria does the voice of Apu, he does the voice of Lenny and Carl, Moe. I don't think, no, because both Smithers and Mr. Burns is by Harry Shearer, and also Harry Shearer's voice as Burns has seen better days.
He left already.
Oh, it's news to me. Because Dan shared one link with Mr. Burns doing a sing-along with how it's a high to be loathed, where they actually referenced Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, all three Terminators, Megatron, and even Eric Cartman. And I'm like, are they allowed to reference other properties like that? And I knowOni's going to hate me. As soon as he said Eric Cartman, all I could see was Oni's face showing up in the background. I'm like, okay.
Oh, no, please.
I was featured on The Simpsons. Ooh, get down, Mr. Burns, my idol. He got money.
Yeah, Dan's also saying, I heard the only role Hank Azaria is leaving is Apu, yeah, because...
Oh, okay. I was confused by that. I mean, that makes sense considering what would happen with all the controversy the character itself faced, which I still think is rather stupid and pointless. to
Well-
blame him for that.
Well, to be fair, when you think about it,
Hmm.
they're saying Apu's the character of Apu is a stereotype. It's like, whoa, hold up a second. How can he be a stereotype when he has a doctorate in computer science, is self-employed, is happily married, and looks after his kids? How is that a stereotype? If anything, that should be applauded.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Speaking of Fox, this is one
Oh
of the
boy.
yeah. Let me just make that go off a second. This is the first of the articles for this evening. I can't say that I'm surprised in any shape or form by this. Disney is dropping Fox, rebranding its acquired studio as 20th Century Studios. Fox Searchlight Pictures is now Searchlight Pictures. Disney's landmark purchase of 20th Century Fox last year is complete, and now the company is looking to phase out the Fox branding in its assets. The 20th Century Fox Film Studio is just being rebranded to just 20th Century Studios. And Fox Searchlight Pictures is now Searchlight Pictures, according to a report from Variety. The move away from the Fox brand isn't entirely surprising, given that Fox Corporation, the remaining piece of the original Fox brand, still exists and runs things like Fox News, Fox Sports, and the Fox TV channel that weren't sold to Disney. But I thought Fox Sports was acquired by Disney. Okay. Removing the Fox from the studios and film divisions that Disney does own will presumably make things in the entertainment world a little clearer. The fact that Fox News in particular is a politically contentious brand that doesn't gel well with Disney's political neutral, you're right, family friendly ethos may have also contributed to the name change. New names will be rolling out soon, according to Variety. Downhill Searchlight's next film is already set to feature the updated logo featuring a Searchlight Pictures presents label, while Call of the Wild 2, out on February 21st, will be the first to feature the new 20th Century Studios branding. All that's changing is the naming, though Variety reports reassuringly notes that the iconic 20th Century Fox opening of fanfare will still remain on the 20th Century Studio films, albeit in a modified version that won't have the word Fox in it anymore. The company is still said to be deciding whether to change the names of the Fox TV production studios to 20th Century Fox Television and Fox 21 Television Studios, which are still less visible to consumers than the much more prominent film branding. Like I said, this was kind of inevitable because once Disney had acquired it, it was only a matter of time before they started to go doing things that they wanted to do. I can't really add anything to that. Lids, thoughts?
Yeah, it seems to me it just seems to me that Fox is being phased out, and you know what? Fine by me. I don't really. Fox got sold. It doesn't really matter to me. Just it is what it is.
Raiden, 2 cents.
I mean, to be like you said, it was inevitable. So it was just a matter of when, and there you go. So end of an era.
Yeah. Just reading a couple of comments. Stephen Walker says people are just grasping at straws at this point. I think he's referring to the Apu situation. Dan says, so what's to stop the internet from forcing Family Guy to cancel or change Cleveland Brown because he's voiced by a white guy?
Good point.
It is a good point, but the thing is, though, the voice actor that voices Cleveland does an extremely decent job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then again, let's look at it from another perspective. We've had Kevin Michael Richardson voice characters on the Batman that were clearly that were clearly Caucasian, although Joker's just got perma-clown set up. But the way I view it is, I don't look at it as...
Or the time where he voiced the Shredder in TNT 2012.
Yep. I mean, or when James Avery voiced the Shredder in the original series. I don't look at it as somebody of another ethnicity voicing an opposing ethnicity. I look at it as, here's a damn good voice actor putting out a really good performance as a great character. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because even you have said, Lids, as cheesy as he was, he's still my favorite Shredder.
Yeah.
So the way I look at it with Kevin Michael Richardson as the Joker, I don't look at the politics or what ethnicity he is. I look at him as Kevin Michael Richardson is just a damn good voice actor, a very accomplished one at that, even though you hear some of his voice roles. I think in some places he could add a little bit of range. Just a little bit, because I noticed in Batman Under the Red Hood, even though he plays a good mob boss leader, I just found that with that one, some of his roles sounded a little too similar, but in a similar vein, because I think it was him who played Baron Mordo in the Marvel animated movie of Doctor Strange. Still a damn good movie and a good role, but I just felt like he doesn't offer that much range with some of his roles. But as Joker, I'm going to go on record and say that he's probably my favorite Joker in animated form. I love me some Mark Hamill. Don't get me wrong. But Richardson's take on the Joker with this very energetic and wacky, delivery as the character. I mean, if you ever listen to Acting with Voices, which is like a behind-the-scenes look of the Batman versus Dracula, which is actually one of my favorite Batman movies, just seeing how animated he gets when he's, delivering his lines, it's just like, that's how you should be as the character. Is just don't just stand there, don't just sit there and just be completely stationary. Get up and flail around. Because even with Tom Kenny, even like after all the years that he's been as a voice actor, he's never used a chair, which is taking a page from what Mark Hamill did with his portrayal as the Joker from the animated series. He's got to stand up in order to energize the character. And even though Richardson's sitting down as the character, he's still getting physical and flailing his arms around just to be able to find as a mental picture of what the character is doing. And it's just hilarious just to see some of the takes where he go, the show must go on, the show must go on, the show must go on. And I'm looking thinking, okay, how much of that is you just doing what you're told to do, and how much of that is you going, oh yeah? Because when he does things like that, I'm like, okay, stop that right now. That'd be like if Raiden's in a recording booth and it's like, oh, imagine if your Joker beating up on Paul Feige. It's like, oh yeah, and they're like, Raiden, you're getting a little too into this.
I know.
Oh my god.
Now I'm picturing. Oh, good lord, I'm actually picturing Raiden wearing the Joker outfit.
Considering how much I've been practicing that laugh, that wouldn't surprise me.
Oh dear. Nah, but it's like I say with regards to people that get up in arms. Just because this voice actor of a different ethnicity is voicing a character of I don't want to say opposing ethnicity. That's probably not the most appropriate choice, but of a different ethnicity, it's just like at the end of the day, you should be listening to the performance and just weighing up the quality of performance on the merit of it. I mean, I hear the voice actor who voices Cleveland does a good job.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Like,
He's a natural. He's natural with the voice.
Oh, that's nasty.
Oh no, 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 no!
Oh. Yeah, or it's like I said, James Avery, very. I think he actually did a little bit of Shakespeare work at one stage. Great physical actor, but here's, you can say, here's a African American actor voicing a character that's Japanese in origin, but you hear his delivery of it. It's like, I don't care. He's delivering a damn good performance. I don't care. The same thing with, like I say, Kevin Michael Richardson voicing the Shredder some near 30 years later. It's just like, dude, I don't care. It's Kevin Michael Richardson. He can do what he wants. He's that damn good. I will say, though, when he was doing his version of the 2012 Ninja Turtles Shredder, he doesn't have James Avery's charisma. Although I did find when they had the crossover when Richardson was voicing 87, he was trying to be James Avery's version, but, and I say this with love, only James Avery could pull that version off. Some may disagree, and that's fine. But, that's what I think of when I think of 87 Turtles. Like, James Avery just did that to perfection. And I would love it if they had ever done like a reunion episode whilst he was still alive, and they just hearing like an outtake where Shredder going, "Well." I would have died of laughter if that happened.
Yeah.
Although some argue that his performance as Uncle Phil sometimes is scarier than his version of the Shredder.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
When he's
anyone...
after they accidentally fire get Jeffrey to quit. That episode when they tell Uncle Phil, that's terrifying. It's like, you better go find Jeffrey. You better bring him back, or they'll never find your bodies. And I'm a judge. I can make it happen. It's like, oh, fuck.
Or the one where... Go on.
Or the one time where I think they were in court protesting how Uncle Phil was just messing things up with the pool party.
Oh my god!
Will told that one reality, and then in the end, Uncle Phil did that evil laugh.
That's
God.
Dan's going, tonight I dine on turtle soup with a side of pillowy mounds of mashed potatoes. The one I'm thinking of was, do you remember the one where Will and Jazz set up that fake marriage with this one girl he liked called Monique, although Will liked a lot of women on that show. And it's the end of the episode where Uncle Phil just goes, "I'm not going to punish you, Will." That's a really...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. It's like, I'm going to bide my time and wait to come up with a punishment. And cut to him a few weeks later reading a book about, I think, medieval torture. It's like, I got it! Wow!
It's just this maniacal laugh. You hear, ha 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 ha. And you look at Will and sort of think, dude, I do not want to be you right now. But oh dear. James Avery is like just one of those voice actors and actors. You're never gonna get another one like him. He was one in a million. I did like Will Smith's tribute where he said every kid today needs an Uncle Phil in their life, and I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Because Uncle Phil, he could be very, very brash and a little rough around the edges, but he would always go to bat for you. Even if he didn't like you, he'd always be there. And, I think in like a countdown of like the 100 best TV dads, I think he ranked number 5. I mean, that ain't bad.
Episode where Will's dad shows up and then like the ending. Oh, the ending so
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
It's like, Phil is your dad. Don't. That man who just left you is not your father. That Uncle Phil is your dad.
It's the way that Will does his goodbye. Goes, you too, Lou. I thought,
oh god,
that told the story right there.
And to find out that Will actually did that monologue at the end where it's like, how come he don't want me? That came from like the heart, and it's like, oh Jesus, he ad-libbed that just. And they said that James like hugged him like for real, like just to, not only as part of the scene, but like to comfort him because from that brought him to a place that like actors don't tend to go, or a few actors tend to go, and it's like, yeah, it's just that's just hard.
Yeah, especially when the present that he got his dad in the episode was a father holding his son. I'm like, oh. It's like, that was deep. This is something that I've said before. When the show would go and tackle these very sensitive and controversial issues, they would always do it in the classiest and most tasteful manner. One of which, because I actually left a comment on where Carlton didn't make it into this fraternity. I said, but to paraphrase, that's the thing I admire about this show. It always handles these very controversial topics with the classiest way of handling it, and it's just the way that Carlton, let's call it for what it is. Carlton is a very dweeby, goofball character, but when the character got serious, you sat up and took note. When it goes, I think along the lines where it goes, you say we need to stick together, but you don't know what that means. If you ask me, you're the sellout. And I'm like,
yep.
I like the way, one of the other fraternity members goes, hey, you don't speak for us, I'm going to have you kicked out.
And
But, Carlton and Will were just basically saying what a lot of people were already saying in real life. Although I did find it a bit ironic, a bit out of left field that Will would go and say, now in the words of my illustrious cousin, we will make like a tree and leave.
Oh my god, and Carlton, when they are outside, it's like, make like a tree and leave. It's make like a banana and split. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah. You'll never get, like the glory days of The Simpsons, you'll never get another show like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. No. I do wonder, though, had the show not ended when it did, how much longer could it have gone on? Because I'd like to think maybe 2 more seasons. If
If I'm
willing.
being
I think so.
if I'm being honest, I feel like the way it ended, it definitely encapsulated everything that was the show was intended. Just a kid from Philly, didn't have that much growing up, came to LA with his other family, and just became a man.
Yeah.
So I don't think there was any more stories to tell.
I do hope that the creator of that modern Fresh Prince, or as it's just being tentatively titled as Bel Air, but it's on more of a dramatic approach rather than a comedic. I genuinely hope that series becomes a reality, because there is such huge potential to what you could do with a modern take on the Fresh Prince. And I was just surprised how much more confrontational Carlton was in that. But then again, this is not, Carlton circa 1990. This would be like Carlton 2017, where he will fend for himself. Stephen just says they're doing a reunion with most of the actresses from Fresh Prince. Don't expect Janet Hubert to be among that list.
Oh God,
Yeah, those no matter how long, her and Will are still gonna have beef, and it's mainly because of her, as I've heard some stories, and she was pretty unbearable to deal with in the later seasons before she got fully replaced.
I know she took time out at one stage because she was actually genuinely pregnant, so they actually managed to work that into the show. But I didn't dislike Daphne, who replaced her. I just thought they could have been a little bit more subtle and actually tried to find an actress that bared a striking resemblance to Janet, because I actually preferred Janet's portrayal as Aunt Viv, because I like Daphne, but Janet's portrayal, she was more forthright and cerebral. She would. This was also art imitating life. If she didn't agree with something that Will did, she told him exactly how she felt.
Yeah. In a sense, it was kind of sort of the same way when Jo Marie Payton, aka Harriet from Family Matters, left, because you could tell in the later seasons it was too Steve centric, and if you know your history, it was kind of double-edged sword, because if it wasn't for Steve Urkel, the show would have been canceled immediately. But now they were just overdoing it, so after that she just left. I also found it funny because in an episode of Proud Family, I think Tommy Davidson, who voices Oscar Proud, I think it was a kind of a gag reel, and I think Sugar Mom said something, and he was like, "Wow, when you left Family Matters."
Oh.
And he was like, "Watch yourself, Joanna, man."
Oh.
Well, I think it's a similar thing in recent times, because although Jaleel White is very proud of what he did on Family Matters, I think he's trying to distance himself from what he did as Urkel, because every now and again he'll get people going, "Did I do that?"
It's pretty funny that you mentioned that, because I haven't heard anything about anything bad about his time being Sonic.
No,
and it's funny. And another thing. I think there was a Sonic fan film, and I think they actually got him to voice him.
They
and I'm
did.
like, wow. Yeah, that tripped me out.
Well, he took a lot of pride in what he did as Sonic, and when I first heard him speak as Sonic, because around that time in the third quarter of 1993, we had no idea as to what a Western world sound, Sonic sounding portrayal would sound like, because you could always like envision in your head like, this is what an American Sonic would sound like, this is what a British Sonic would sound like. Just sort of used your imagination. It wasn't until Super Special Sonic Search and Smash Squad, the first couple of lines that came out of his mouth, it's just like, nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. And then the iconic line of, I'm waiting, which that annoyed one of my relatives for ages. So, being a 12-year-old jackass at the time, I kept doing it and kept aggravating them further.
Oh.
Hey, I was a preteen dude. I just did what I wanted. But as you say, he, was offered the part to reprise his role as Sonic for the 2013 movie. Interesting thing that Eddie LeBron said, when he went into the recording booth, Jaleel could still do the same pitch as Sonic from the 90s. Easily. But for this portrayal, he wanted Sonic to sound... When I say darker, I mean in the context of the voice is slightly deeper and a little bit more mature. So in this version, instead of being 15, Sonic sounds like he's 18, 19. A little bit. It's like if... Not if like... Sonic had been smoking or drinking whiskey, but that sort of seasoned tone in his voice where it made the character sound a little bit older. And to his credit, I think it worked. Because after all the years of Ryan Drummond, Jason Griffith, and by that point, Roger Craig Smith, it was so refreshing just to hear Jaleel's voice come out of the character again. It's just like, hey, that was my Sonic growing up. I did find it a little bit amusing where he's looking at the female GUN agent and she's just like, see someone you like? Well, I hope not. I mean, you're pretty and all, but... And I thought, okay, so what you doing there? But, for me, that was the standard template of how to do a Sonic voice properly. We don't talk about Nathan Burke from 99. It was the a product of its time in the late 90s when ADV did the Western dub, because Sonic's just sounded like this weird cowboy. That's the only way I can describe it. And Tails sounded like a girl with a nasal head cold. It's just like anime, voice acting wasn't taken that seriously in anime back in the day, whereas these days they put their backs into it. Especially when for Steam Boy they actually got Sir Patrick Stewart as one of the characters. I'm like, okay, hold up a second. Patrick Stewart, Professor X, Captain Picard, he's voice acting in an anime. Okay then. Stephen, we don't talk about Sonic in Sydney. Yeah, Raiden does not want to know. Let's just put it this way. Random Ham did his own commentary over it. And for some bizarre reason, in that Robotnik is into opera.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know what to make of that at the time. I'm just like, okay, that's different. Okay, we've gone off onto tangents, like how these little things seep from one season to another. Mind you, we were talking about Will Smith just now, and I have a little something that may or may not please people.
Boy.
Bad Boys 4 is already in the works.
Well, from what I've heard, the Bad Boys movie this came out this year was actually, I heard reviews saying this is the best one yet.
Sony
Nice.
isn't. Go on.
I said nice. That's all I said.
Sony isn't messing around or wasting any time to get Bad Boys 4 made. Bad Boys for Life just hit theaters today, and the studio has brought Chris Bremer on board to pen the script for the next installment. Will Smith and Martin Lawrence are believed to be attached to the upcoming sequel, which shouldn't take as long as the last installment to come together. So far, the response has been positive to the latest movie, though we'll have a better idea in the coming weeks and months. Bad Boys 2 hit theaters in 2003, so it was a bit of a shock to learn that Bad Boys for Life was even going to happen at all. Martin Lawrence and Will Smith were asked about the sequel for over a decade while it remained in developmental hell. When asked about the movie again in 2018, Lawrence was confident that it would never happen. Shortly after that interview, Sony greenlit Bad Boys for Life, reuniting Will Smith and Martin Lawrence on the big screen. In order to avoid another 17-year break between movies, Sony is already getting Bad Boys 4 ready to go. Without going into spoiler territory, Bad Boys for Life does hint that a sequel is possible in a pretty intriguing way, which you can learn about in theaters this weekend. This isn't the first time a fourth installment has been talked about. Back in 2015, when Bad Boys for Life was in its infancy, the other movie was announced too. However, that was still a long way from happening, and a lot of changes went on behind the scenes to get where we are today. Joe Carnahan was originally on board to write Bad Boys for Life and is credited, though Chris Bremer gets top billing in the credits. For now, it looks like only Bremer is on board for Bad Boys 4, though that could obviously change in the next few years. Once the script is written, we could easily see production begin as early as next year, with the sequel hitting theaters by 2022. If everything works out behind the scenes, while there is plenty of one last time talk in the latest installment, we might see the duo back for at least one more time. Martin Lawrence and Will Smith clearly enjoy working with each other, so it should be no problem getting them back on board for Bad Boys 4. While the sequel is in development, there is no guarantee they will actually happen. The box office will certainly come into play as we watch Bad Boys for Life open in theaters this weekend. So far, the numbers are looking good, with a solid 7 million in Thursday night opening preview screenings. The Hollywood Reporter was the first to announce the Bad Boy 4 news. Okay. I would be intrigued to see that. I'm gonna shock people. I've not even seen the first movie properly yet.
Oh, that needs to be a thing that
really?
happens.
I know of bits of the second movie where, because of Will's character, Martin Lawrence's character has to sit on a donut.
That was the second movie.
That's why I said bits of the second movie. The third movie, I feel like it's kind of borrowing pages from Lethal Weapon, with Martin Lawrence as a character being the equivalent of Danny Glover's character, where that character is getting close to retirement, and Mel Gibson, being Mel Gibson, is just being the crazy guy. So we can equate, Will Smith's character to be the young and reckless version of that. Now I have this weird idea of Will Smith making these very, artistic movies written in, ancient languages that people won't understand unless they've got subtitles. Although the idea of Will Smith possibly doing his own version of Braveheart would be interesting. Yeah, but it also means Will Smith mooning to the audience, which I don't think the female audience would mind that too much. Although, for context, Mel Gibson, please don't ever do that again. We love you, Mel, but no one needs to see Mel butt. Well, the ladies probably do, but I can't speak for Lydia on that one.
No offense. Yeah, no offense. Mel Gibson's not my cup of tea.
You ever seen?
Mel Gibson maybe, but not now. No.
You ever seen What Women Want?
Oh, yes, and he's actually very good looking in that.
Oh god, Raiden, have you ever seen that one?
I don't think I have.
Alright, dude, at some stage, I need to get you set up with that movie because that will have you dying of laughter.
Okay.
Although it's a ridiculous concept of his character gets electrocuted and somehow he's able to hear exactly what women are thinking.
Wait a minute. I heard that concept. I heard they tried to reboot that once.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah, that was. Oh no.
Yeah.
No.
So if this is the original, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah. Although apparently the original pitch for What Men Want was actually going to be Cameron Diaz playing that role, which I wouldn't mind seeing.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been bad.
Yeah. But as for Bad Boys 4, I'm glad that the third movie kind of, finally came to fruition because it's one of those, this needs to happen now, because the characters and the actors are not getting any younger. So it's a case of, let's do this whilst this is in the moment. And if they're able to get another movie out, more power to them. Because from what little I did see of the second movie, the chemistry and the camaraderie between Will and Martin it's just amusing to see. It's like two best friends just bickering with each other. And they kind of play into that because have you ever seen the music video for Shy Guy?
I don't think I have.
I forget the artist's name, but there was two versions of the music video. There's the one where it's just her with her group, and then it's her with clips from the first movie with Will and Martin just dancing in time with it. Goes, we're not shy guys, we're bad boys. I'm like, okay. So yeah, if they get another movie made, awesome. Raiden, thoughts?
Like you said, after hearing what the third sequel did, I mean, in a sense, you would see another movie, another sequel coming for this one. So, just like with the third one, hopefully the writing is more better because, as much as people love the first two, there was a lot of stuff that was especially with Tia Leone's character in Bad Boys. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just found her unbearable.
Yeah, she was frustrating. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
she's frustrating.
I remember seeing
places.
Yeah. Second one was pretty good, but well, if you ever seen a Michael Bay movie, you'll know the action is rampant as hell.
Yeah.
So much plot lines is what's going on. So the good thing about the third one, at least, is a little concise. It brings up more, I guess you can say, more story building. So hopefully with the fourth one, it gets the same thing. So we'll wait and see.
Lid's thoughts?
I mean, yeah, I could definitely from what I saw from the third trailer from the third movie. I haven't seen the third one yet, but it was definitely passable at least. It was very funny. It had a lot of the banter that I want from these movies, especially Will and Martin bouncing off each other. And if they can keep this up in the fourth movie, I say go for it. I'd be okay with a fourth Bad Boys movie.
Awesome. All right. I hate to kill the mood a minute, but
oh no.
We lost a great in the wrestling world a few days ago, and excuse me, as I clear my throat a second. I'm also dealing with like the after effects of a cold, so if you hear me trying to like clear my throat or just soften up with a drink, you'll know why.
Okay.
Yeah, because I need it to be consistent for this. Dwayne Johnson breaks silence on father Rocky Johnson's death. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has taken to social media to comment on the death of his father, former professional wrestler Rocky Johnson. Rocky passed away this week at the age of 75. He was a wrestler from 1964 to 1991 and made history alongside Tony Atlas as the first black tag team to hold the then World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Championships back in 1983. After his retirement, Johnson worked with Pat Patterson in training Johnson to become a professional wrestler. If you see the epic journey of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, they go into depth with the sort of training that they would actually put The Rock through. He said, I would train him my way, and he would train him, 110% his way. And just so you know, in the wrestling ring that Rock was training in, he would actually be passing out, throwing up, but he would always come back for more because he was that determined to make it like his father, and if not, succeed his father. And I personally think The Rock did that. It goes on. Dwayne would go on to become one of the greatest wrestlers in WWE history as the People's Champ, won the WWE Championship 8 times and main evented WrestleMania 5 times. He's gone on since to be one of Hollywood's biggest action stars in franchises such as The Fast and Furious and Jumanji. Here's the heartfelt statement from Dwayne Johnson on social media in remembrance of his father. I'm not going to read it from the actual feed to Instagram. I'm going to go on the one where it's a little bit clearer to read, as they'll be able to see from here. Quote, I love you. You broke color barriers, became a ring legend, and trailblazed your way through this world. I was the boy sitting in the seats, watching and adoring you, my hero from afar. The boy you raised to always be proud of our cultures and proud of who I am and what I am. The boy you raised with the toughest of love, the intense work, the hard hand, the adoring boy who wanted to know only your best qualities, who then grew to become a man realizing you had other deep complex sides that needed to be held and understood, son to father, man to man. That's when my adoration turned to respect and my empathy turned to gratitude. Grateful that you gave me life. Grateful you gave me life's invaluable lessons. Dad, I wish I had one more shot to tell you. I love you. Before you crossed over to the other side, but you were ripped away from me so fast without warning. Gone in an instant and no coming back. I'm in pain. But we know it's just pain and it'll pass. Now I'll carry your mana and work ethic with me, as it's time to move on because I have my family to feed and work to accomplish. Finally, I want you to rest, your trailblazing soul man. Pain-free, regret-free, satisfied, and at ease. You lived a very full, very hard, barrier-breaking life and left it all in the ring. I love you, Dad, and I'll always be your proud and grateful son. Go rest high. Hashtag RIP Soulman from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Obviously, the statement is loaded with emotion and grief. We would once again like to extend our thoughts and condolences to Dwayne Johnson and his whole family. My comments and my thoughts on Rocky Johnson's passing. As a WWE fan, I knew of him through archive footage, whether it be through some of Rock's DVDs or, like these video packages that would look back at, some of these trailblazing superstars from the past. You look at the athleticism that Rocky Johnson had in the ring whether it was him being a solo performer or if he was tagging up with Tony Atlas. You could see The Rock's genetics in him even back then. That just the way that just this fluid pacing through arm drags or body slams. You could see this. There was this pattern and just this way he would actually get through the ring, and to see The Rock carry that through his very short WWE career, because what we gotta remember is Rock was only in the WWE from 96 to 2002 as a full-time competitor, and even then he's only been back sparingly in the last 18 years. So I would probably say, although Rock accomplished a lot in his career, I think Rocky Johnson probably accomplished more, because it said in Rock's tribute to his father, Rocky Johnson broke down barriers. He kicked down doors for so many future superstars, whether it was Rock himself, or it was Booker T, Kofi Kingston, Shelton Benjamin. I mean, Shelton Benjamin, I remember reading from his tweet, he was very praiseworthy. And Shelton, I do see a little bit of Rocky's not his moveset, but that very same sort of athleticism, the way he's just able to look more like an athlete and not so much a sports entertainer, is something that I think is very important. But the way that Rock paid so much love and so much of a heartfelt, loving goodbye to his father. I mean, what more is there that you can say? I mean, and just to get off on a slight side tangent, we always say what we want to say to people after they're gone. Why do we not do this thing where instead of waiting to tell somebody that's important in our lives what we genuinely think and what we genuinely feel about them, why don't we actually say that to them whilst they're here, so that they actually know, rather than live in regret and say, why didn't I say that to them whilst they were here? Now, on the one hand, you can make the point of saying, well, that's hindsight. You didn't know that this was going to happen. But if you could have that one shot, just to be able to go back and say, this is what I really want to say, this is what I really feel about you, you are my reason for wanting to be a better person. Think of any heartfelt speech that you'd want to tell a loved one when you had the chance. Shouldn't we do that? Because I feel like with what Rock said to him there, he still felt like he had something left to say to his father. And I know that he was very honest and open when he inducted his father into the Hall of Fame in 2008, because he also inducted his grandfather.
07, actually.
I'm pretty sure it was 2008.
No, it was definitely 2007. Because if you look back at it, I think he was talking a little smack to Cena, and if you ever know that meme Cena does, that's where it came from.
Let me check a second. 2007. I'm pretty sure. Let me see. Hall of Fame 2008. Nope. Soulman Rocky Johnson and High Chief Pete Maravilla. They were both inducted by The Rock. March 29, 2008. I think...
Oh, shit. Oh.
Dude, I get it wrong from time to time on occasion. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But, no, I mean, what more is there to say? You know, it was beautifully composed. I feel like Rock probably took the time necessary to carefully word it, because Rock these days is a very considerate and articulate individual. He always thinks of what words he's going to say maybe 3 to 4 days before he's going to say it in a statement, because he'll be comedic with a lot of the stuff that he does, but he does it in a way whereby even if he has to ruffle some feathers, you know he's doing it for a reason. He's not doing it just purely just to be antagonistic for the sake of. And I feel like what he did for his father, it was beautifully worded. It's an example that most people should look and think, you know what, maybe that's how I should speak to my old man. Maybe that's, you know, I should pick up the phone and say, hey, we're only on there for X amount of time. I just want to say, you know, thank you for being there, and I'm sorry for being a jackass. I mean, I could go on, and believe you me, I'm known for doing that. There's nothing more I can say. The only thing I can say to end it is rest in peace, Rocky Johnson. You're one of the best for a reason. Fully deserved your Hall of Fame induction. Only other thing I could say is you probably deserved a couple of reigns as Intercontinental Champion back in the day. Some may disagree, and that's fine. I'm not here to debate whether they should or should not. We're honoring, you know, a great man that's no longer with us.
Mm-hmm.
Liz, I'll turn it over to you.
I honestly don't have anything to say. It's another tragic loss to the business, and personally, the fact that look, I just find it really difficult to say this kind of stuff. It's like we respect the man as after he's gone. It's like, well, we should respect the people that we have while they're still here.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is, and I can't say anything other more than that than rest in peace. That's all I can say. I can't really add anything to that.
No, that's fine, Liz. Raiden, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, very unfortunate to hear. Lots of good ones in the new year, but hey, you know, that's life, you know. So as he said, told us go out to Rock and his family. Very heartfelt message he put out. So, you know, R.I.P. to the Soul Man.
Yeah. Yeah, he was one of the best. Alright, we'll consider that one done. We're still onto the subject of WWE, but we're now going to be visiting one of Raiden's best friends, Corey Graves.
Oh, goody!
Corey Graves explains why he blasted WWE Raw on Twitter. Corey Graves caused another stir on social media this week when he posted a pair of tweets during Monday Night Raw that were critical of what was happening on the show. The tweets read, quote, "No one cares and wow, F this, fire me, I'm already fired," came during the Rusev versus Bobby Lashley match that saw both Lana and Liv Morgan get involved. The rollercoaster soap opera-esque storyline has been panned by critics, including Graves, for months, and yet WWE continues to move forward with it due to how much attention it gets from television viewers and online. Graves went through everything that frustrated him about the angle at the start and on the After the Bell podcast on Thursday, starting with how uninterested the crowd looked. The entire crowd was silent, Graves said. Nobody was moving, nobody was clapping, it was complete apathy, which in this business is the worst thing you can have. You could be cheered, you could be booed. Sure, not everything works, but to have an entire arena full of people not react to anything that was happening is a problem. He then addressed how Morgan has been used in the story. Oh dear. After weeks of pre-taped vignettes teasing her new character, Morgan appeared on television 2 weeks back to reveal she had been in a lesbian arrangement, not in an lesbian relationship, because that's grammatically incorrect. With Lana, during Monday's match, he confronted Lana at ringside only to get thrown into a barricade. For weeks and weeks, you have been promoting Liv Morgan and this return. And Liv Morgan, I have said on this show, in my opinion, is a star waiting to be born. She has this unusual reveal in the Lana Lashley wedding, which everyone had an opinion, one right, wrong, or indifferent. Just to correct you on that, Corey, an opinion is an opinion. It's neither right nor wrong. Just saying. For the last week or so, she's been promoting on social media that she's going to be in Rusev's corner for this matchup. Liv's absent until the final moment, where she comes to the ring, gets coke thrown in her face, and get beaten up by Lana. Tell me why anybody in the universe should pay attention or care about Liv Morgan now, he added. We've been told for weeks that she's going to be important, she's going to be a star. And the first time that we see her do anything of consequence, she gets beaten up rather effortlessly by Lana. It was announced after the match that Rusev and Morgan would team up to face Lana and Lashley on next week's Raw, but Graves pleaded with them to just let the feud end. He then talked about how the storyline is being compared to the Attitude Era. No. Something many fans online seem to want to become the norm again on television. Graves argued that what made the Attitude Era wasn't the lewd storylines and profanity, but rather the quality of the wrestlers on the roster and the ability to connect with the fans regardless of the story. Okay, that bit I agree with. There were a ton of awful, horrendous storylines, Graves said. Mae Young gave birth to a hand. Why'd you have to remind us about that? There was Katie Vick. Some of the worst storylines in the history of the business took place in the Attitude Era, but as a whole, the business was on fire because everyone had to step up. Even if you were in a garbage circumstance, you had an opportunity to make your own path. That's what we need. That's what we miss from the Attitude Era. I agree on both points. We don't need to necessarily see lewd and crude storylines come back, but we do need this unpredictability of, what made you tune in every week. Anything involving Rock and Austin, you never knew what they were going to do next. Anything with regards to Triple H when he was slowly climbing the ladder, it made you tune in. The stuff that, Too Cool and Rikishi would get up to with various feuding stables, that was fun to watch. Bra and panty matches, no, that wouldn't happen today. No. But, Corey Graves, I feel like he's having a CM Punk moment from 2011. He's saying what everyone's thinking. It's like, can we please stop this garbage? And CM Punk is...
I would have words about this, but I'll save it when it's my turn.
Sure. And he's kind of channeling what CM Punk is doing on WWE Backstage. It's just like, why is this still a thing? And it just hammers home what we've been saying for years. And Vince McMahon, I am speaking to you directly. Please, please retire. You've passed it. Although many would argue you passed it about 9 to 10 years ago, but this um, forgive me for being like, too profane, but this is horse shit. No, I'll tell you what.
you cut off the right time.
Like I say, this is absolute horse shit. I'll tell you what. Leave for 1 month. For 1 month in WWE, leave the creative up to L-Man and Oni.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
On one condition, L-Man, no dark shit. No. Raiden doesn't need to have nightmares. Yeah, other than his take on saying, what is a right opinion, wrong opinion, different, everyone knows I have my stance on that. Pretty much agree with what he says, because I've been seeing, snippets of the Lana, Lashley, Rusev, and Morgan feud. It's garbage. And that's being nice. That's being nice about it. Dan goes, what does Carmella see in Corey Graves? Probably a lot of things, but I'm probably not allowed to say it on air. And even though we're age restricted, I have limits. Yes, I do. Dan, I also really hope they don't extend the Lana, Lashley, Rusev, Liv storyline all the way to WrestleMania. Dan, just by typing that Vince McMahon is getting ideas. Liv Morgan gets thrown into a lesbian relationship with a straight woman. Sonya and Mandy. Are we a joke to you? Yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Especially what they're doing with Mandy on the show currently. I mean, don't get me wrong. Her and Otis are actually kind of cute, but
honestly, those are the great. That's the most greatest thing ever on SmackDown, aside from Daniel Bryan. Let's be fair. I'm gonna be honest with that.
Yeah. Let's go nuts.
I mean, I think as much as I don't like Corey Graves, and that kind of goes without saying, but he's saying what we're thinking. And to be honest, raise your hand. Who cares about the whole Lana Lashley storyline at this point? Raise your hand.
Don't give a fuck.
I've been saying just end the stupid storyline and be done with it. No one cares. Just go away. I think a lot of us are just done with it. And the fact that, well, to be fair, the fact that a guy with the company is saying this, you have a freaking problem. And everybody's been saying it for years. Vince needs to go. Vince is done. It's like game over. Let's just move on.
Yeah.
Nope. Old man's still gonna keep going. And so, like, I'm over it. I'm over his just brand of stupidity, and that's saying something. Just done.
It's like I've said so many times before. I respect what the man has accomplished by taking the WWE to global heights in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. But this Vince McMahon, he doesn't need to be taken out back and shot like Old Yeller. It's just one of those, give me the keys to the car. You're being driven around. No, you're not driving this car no more. Because he's out of touch. And I'm starting to agree with Oni. Maybe Vince's mind is on the blinker. But, yeah, what Steve just said. Raiden, You may go to war.
Corey. I may not like you, but you're right. This has gone far enough, but the old man will still continue it for ratings, or lack thereof. But let's not play that you're the innocent one here, cause I've heard so much dumb stuff you say on social media and on your little podcast. So the fact that you say that and you continue to talk shit when it comes to commentary on SmackDown, from what I've heard, because I refuse to listen to SmackDown, it's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, you have people who still like the product and wants to continue for the better, but hates the stuff. And then you have the other hand, which is me, who enjoys the chaos and just wants to see it burn, but still want to see it go better. But as long as the old man's still there, it ain't never ever gonna happen. So, in conclusion, you're right, but don't think you're the innocent one. That's all I gotta say here. I mean, I can go to town about this whole wedding nonsense, but I choose not to talk about it, because talking about WWE more will get you more angrier than hearing that Justin Bieber Yummy song on repeat. That ain't happening.
No.
I'd rather not.
Please no.
Okay then. Let me see. Oh. Here's something potentially pleasant.
I am 5,000% on board for that.
DC's Gail Simone endorses Karen Gillian as Batgirl. Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers Endgame, and Jumanji, The Next Level star Karen Gillian recently admitted she would be interested to play Batgirl if she had to portray another comic book character outside of Nebula in the MCU. In a recent interview, the actress was put on the spot and chose fellow redhead Barbara Gordon as the character she'd like to explore. Taking it further and choosing the same Batgirl character as one which she would like to talk to should she get behind the camera. Now DC's Batgirl writer Gail Simone is endorsing Gillian for the role. As one of the longest running writers, I would totally endorse Karen Gillian as Batgirl. Simone said in a tweet, she'd kill as Barbara, put Cass in there too. While a Batgirl movie has long been rumoured to be in development, the project seems to be still stalled at Warner Brothers. Should the project come along, Gillian has more than a few fans backing her. Check out Simone's tweet below. Simone knows a thing or two about Batgirl and DC Comics, having written the Batgirl comics for years starting in 2011 and also tackling titles such as Birds of Prey and Wonder Woman. When Gillian was asked which hero she'd like to play, this was her answer. Batgirl would be pretty cool. Yeah, she's a redhead. It doesn't seem like the actress is campaigning for a role, but it just Gillian having fun and answering a question in an interview. The follow-up question was which superhero would she like to direct? Batgirl would be cool for that as well. Gillian said in an interview with Omelette, my favourite film in that world, my favourite one is Dark Knight. I just love the way that one is directed so much, so I would just love to work in that world as a director. Come on, DC, look over this way. Considering the type of actress that she is and how much she actually puts into her roles, and also because she's cute and she's a redhead, so yay. I'd be totally intrigued with the idea of her playing Batgirl, and also it's another Celtic actress getting over, because most people are not aware Karen Gillian is actually Scottish. But you wouldn't know listening to her as Nebula, that she was actually a British actress. It's just like, oh okay. But oh, Dan's just saying, speaking of Birds of Prey, I know mean no disrespect to the actress playing her in the film, but that girl is not Cassandra Cain.
Thank you. Thank you. I've been saying it since that trailer dropped. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I saw that trailer. I think I will quite respectfully give it a miss.
Just, I'm sorry. I think that what they're doing with that girl, that's not Cassandra Cage. They're trying to make their own watered down version of Negasonic Teenage Warhead. And I don't like it. No.
DC, you have offended the First Lady.
Yeah. Come on, let's call it what the movie is. It's not Birds of Prey. It's a Harley Quinn movie. There, I said it, and let's move on.
And somewhere Chris Herman of Double Toasted would agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Raiden?
I mean. Okay, I think I'll. Okay, thanks, Lydia, for bringing this up because I want to bring this up before I talk about the Batgirl stuff. Okay, with Birds of Prey, I kind of started looking forward. I was looking forward to it until they had this whole emancipation something about Harley Quinn. I'm like, okay. So with that said, you're disrespecting Black Canary, Huntress, Renee Montoya, and Black Mask. That's no good. That is no good, yo, for real. Like, maybe, just maybe, it'll do well, but I'm just hoping, like, we get an actual Birds of Prey movie. That's just me in a sense. And, yeah, Liz, I definitely understand why you're not no bueno when it comes to this Cassandra Cain. Because I remember because I do read the comics, and Orphan, aka Cassandra Cain, is a pure unadulterated badass. This is just a plucky little kid that you see in a old 90s flick.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I had to say it. But anyway, ending that tangent, this whole thing about this Batgirl, yeah, I'll be down with it. Anything to get more Batman side characters in there. I mean, I'm still waiting for some actors to play, Robin, Nightwing, Red Hood, Damian Wayne, Red Robin, all that jazz. But for now, this looks pretty promising, and I'm going to another tangent here. I think I've spoke with people, but after Endgame, Marvel needs to take a step back with movies, and because I'm a DC fan first, and I really want to see them win when it comes to live action. So far, they're doing really well with Shazam and Aquaman, and I'm hoping with this, Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey, whatever, and Wonder Woman 1984. I just want to see them win. Simple as that. So with this whole thing with Batgirl and all that, I'll be down for.
Just to get on a slight thing with Harley Quinn, her animated series. I'm gonna be nice. I like the animation. I like the scoring and what have you, and the voice acting is fine. The rest of it is garbage.
Ouch!
I don't like the writing. I think like some of the dialogue is just absolute cringe, especially.
Not gonna lie. Hearing Damian Wayne as just voice as a little kid had me dying of laughter. That's all it is. I mean, for me at least, I'll definitely check the series out because it reminds me of very slapstick like humor, and for a person who grew up watching Looney Tunes and all that, this might be for me. Ain't be for anyone else, but from what I've seen, it looks pretty fun. All right, continue on.
The thing that apparently that apparently one of the very few things that people actually like about this is this nonchalant, passive version of Ivy, where she's just like, yeah, okay, whatever. Just this very relaxed, doesn't have this agenda for plant life and what have you. Oh, Dan's echoing what I'm saying. Thank you. I really don't like the new Harley Quinn cartoon, especially when all the characters are written as a-holes. Oh, I'm not going to be saying this.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Aren't there villains? So aren't there assholes in general?
Yeah, but even some of the protagonists, quote unquote, are good and coming across. And this is how cringe this starts off. One of the, evil, like, business mob bosses on this yacht says this. And I'm going to be typing this out privately.
Okay.
Not making this up. This is an actual line.
Boy.
Oh!
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, but shit like that kind of makes me laugh. I'm sorry. I know that's some offense, but for me, this. Oh god! Oh god! Oh dude, I did not expect to laugh hard about this.
Hang on, Steve's just asking, dare I ask? Steve, I'm about to type it out to you on it. This is what one of the businessmen say.
Oh.
Steve, do not type that out in the chat, alright?
Please don't.
I'm waiting for it to respond.
Oh god, no.
He goes, oh. Yeah. Oh, and apparently to have quote-unquote female empowerment, you see Harley Quinn defeating Aquaman.
You don't hear that? That's me doing a face palm in my face.
Yeah.
Why?
Damn, they still shitting on Aquaman on to this day. That's so mid.
I heard her try that on Jason Momoa Aquaman. I dare you.
He would be a team player. Let's be fair.
Oh no, he wouldn't.
Yeah, and I think Aquaman was being voiced by Travis William, aka Knuckles the Echidna.
Oh damn! How ironic.
That guy cannot.
Let's see if you ever seen Sonic Boom.
Yeah.
Okay, now I have to watch this show.
Oh my god.
And I thought the puberty talk Batman had with Damian was hilarious. Oh, good lord.
Oh god, that was so silly.
Oh dear. Yeah. Just texting Win a second. Mainly because, Win's company is appreciated. Because she usually texts around this time whether she's going to make it or not, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Alright. Still no word from Kaiju, although he's probably sleeping it off, though. The Ultra Trekkie's just saying Amy Pond as Batgirl. I'm presuming that's a character from Doctor Who.
Yep, Amy Pond.
Stephen goes, Can I say this if I haven't already? Keep over the top SJWs and in your face messages out of our beloved franchises. Thank you. I second that.
Mm-hmm.
Ask Marvel that and see what happens.
Yeah.
Oh God.
You know I'm right. You know I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
And I know your brother will agree with me on that.
Don't get my brother started, otherwise we'll have another repeat of his take on America Chavez.
Oh God.
God.
No.
God. I'll never forget that one.
Yeah, Lids is still having PTSD because of that. The Ultra Trekkie goes Stephen Walker depends on the franchise. Win along with Overlord Navi.
Ow.
Yeah, Navi will end up becoming Battle Cat. Picture that in your head for a minute. Right, I'm good. Hang on. What's this? Oh, I thought somebody responded. Never mind. Well, Stephen goes and mentions another Godzilla movie. Let me see. If I go and punch that in. Godzilla vs. King Kong is in the home stretch. Director calls it the thrill of a lifetime. Director Adam Wingard has provided a little update on the status of Godzilla vs. King Kong. The gigantic monster flick was recently delayed by Warner Brothers by a full 8 months. The movie was originally supposed to hit theaters in March, and the delay, to some, could be taken as a signal that there is trouble in paradise. However, Wingard's new comment suggests that everything is going well, and that the Kaiju clash, this will be the one great time for Kaiju to show up, never mind, is nearing the finish line in the editing room. Adam Wingard, who previously directed movies like You're Next and Blair Witch.
Okay, I thanks to James A. Denise of Dead Meat, your next was pretty dope.
I watched Your Next with Oni, and we both actually liked it. But yeah, Your Next is actually pretty good.
Off topic, everyone should be like Aaron in a horror movie.
Yes, they should.
Isn't what one might call an overly active social media poster, but Wingard recently took to Instagram and shared a picture of King Kong from days past. In this caption, Wingard had nothing but positive things to say about the process and revealed that the movie is nearly complete. Here's what we had to say about it. Working on GVK has been the thrill of a lifetime. We're on the home stretch of editorial. Just a few more months to go. I tend to stay quiet about my projects as I work on them, but I just gotta say, I'm so damned excited about this crazy movie. Few specific plot details have been revealed about Godzilla vs. King Kong thus far. The upcoming entry in the Monsterverse will, as title implies, see Godzilla and King Kong duking it out. We haven't seen King Kong since Kong Skull Island, and in that movie he was quite a bit smaller than the new Godzilla, who we first met in 2014, but in some footage was shown to audiences at CCXP in Brazil last year. It was revealed that Kong has grown a bit over the years, making him a much better match for the current King of the Monsters. Recently, some toys that made their way online all but confirmed another character from the Godzilla franchise will be making its way to the big screen for modern audiences. Last year's Godzilla King of the Monsters brought classic Toho beasts such as Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah into the fold. The human cast for Godzilla vs. King Kong includes a Millie Bobby Brown, Julian Dennison, Brian Tyree Henry, Damien Berker, I'm not sure. Bicker, I'm guessing. Alexander Skarsgård, Isa Gonzalez, Kyle Chandler, Jessica Henwick, Rebecca Hall, and Lance Reddick. Godzilla King of the Monsters debuted to mixed critic reviews and underperformed at the box office, bringing in just $385 million at the box office, which was not what Warner Bros. And Legendary were hoping for. It's possible the delayed release date could be giving Adam Wingard's more time to get things just right. With any luck, this epic brawl won't repeat the same mistakes as its predecessor. Godzilla vs. King Kong is set to hit theaters on November 20. Be sure to check out the post from Adam Wingard's Instagram for yourself. Well, it is often said that if you want to get it right, it's best just to go through and just revise it, tweak it, and just get it done till it's absolutely spot on. Because there are a lot of writers, directors, and filmmakers that are starving perfectionists, because the rule of thumb generally goes, you have to satisfy yourself first, that you're happy with the product that you have before showing it to the general public. And it seems to me, from what I'm hearing, they really want this movie to have so much of a polish that it will have a shine to it. And Steven's just saying, gonna meet Millie Bobby Brown in March, gonna get her to sign the Blu-ray cover. I blame Disney Aladdin for taking too much of the audience. Oh yeah. Dan says, if Mothra shows up in King Kong vs. Godzilla, do you think she'll be Wonder Woman to Kong and Godzilla's Superman and Batman respectively? Possibly. And also keep in mind, this will be the first time on screen that we've had King Kong vs. Godzilla since the 60s.
That'll be interesting.
He goes on further to say, we should have got more people, but people were seeing Aladdin in Endgame. I actually saw the Nostalgia Critic's review of Aladdin. Having not seen the movie itself, I do sort of agree that there were some kind of missed opportunities with that review. And, well, I can say from a production value, it looks like it's high quality, but it doesn't have the charm of the animated movie. And Will Smith, try as he did, he's not the genie. Simply because Will Smith has charismatic energy in a different style to Robin Williams. Mainly because Robin Williams' take on the genie, that was once in a lifetime. You're not going to see that repeated. Trekkie says, I watched the Frackin' movie. It's better than critics said it would be. If you enjoyed it, dude, then, that's awesome. Me, personally, I got put off by it. And when someone like Critic, who's someone that I look at with a very raised eyebrow, when he is making me pass up on it, says something. It'll be interesting to see what they give us with King Kong versus Godzilla later this year, because from what I'm hearing, King of the Monsters underperformed, even though movies are actually technically a hit if they cross the $300 million mark. And $385 million, that's not anything to be sniffed at. But it does sound to me like it was just simple mishap with the dates that they booked for it. So maybe with the next movie, maybe it'll be different. Who can say? He goes on further to say, and Robin Williams was lightning in a bottle. You cannot reproduce that. Nope. Raiden, your thoughts for the fact that the movie is being delayed to this November? Is it necessary, or do you think that the director has something hidden up his sleeve?
I'm gonna probably set something up the sleeve with it. I'm hoping, it gets released because, hey, Godzilla versus King Kong. I mean, how long has that been the thing? And we said since the '60s, so it hopefully, I know it has its audience. I know there's a lot of people who don't care, but I'm just hoping it has somewhere up his sleeve, the director somewhere up his sleeve. After King of the Monsters, I'm hoping things will be different and better. That's it.
All right. Lid, your thoughts?
I'm gonna say I'm very excited to see what they do with Godzilla versus King Kong. I've been waiting to see these two monsters clash on the big screen, and I haven't seen the original version of that, so this will be interesting to see what they do with it. And for however long we wait, I'll be waiting to see it. It looks like it's gonna be fun.
Alrighty. And this is one article that Raiden brought to my attention. If it'll load up on Discord in a minute. From The Hollywood Reporter, an animated Mortal Kombat movie sets cast with Joel McHale and Jennifer Carpenter. A new group of combatants are assembling. Warner Brothers Animation is plotting an animated movie based on the fighting video game Mortal Kombat Legends: Scorpion's Revenge. Community alum Joe McHale will voice Johnny Cage, whilst Dexter's Jennifer Carpenter will voice star as Sonya Blade in Scorpion's Revenge, which will debut in the first half of this year. Scorpion's Revenge is directed by Ethan Spaulding, Batman: Assault on Arkham, Justice League: Throne of Atlantis, from a script by Jerry Adams, Supernatural, Teen Titans Go.
Oh, I am so sorry, sir.
Based on a video game by Ed Boon and John Tobias. The voice cast also includes Jordan Rodriguez as Liu Kang, Patrick Seitz as Scorpion and Hanzo Hasashi, and Steve Bloom as Sub-Zero.
Ooh.
Art Butler as Shang Tsung, Darian DePaul as Quan Chi, Robin Atkin Downs as Kano, David B. Mitchell as Kano, David B. Mitchell as Raiden, no relation to ours, Ike Monday as Jax Briggs, Kevin Michael Richardson as Goro, nice, Greg Griffin as Kitana, and Satoshi Hasashi and Fred Tatasciore as Demon Torturer. Oh, he's going to enjoy that way too much.
Yes.
Rick Morales, Batman: Return of the Caped Crusaders, Batman vs. Two-Face, is producer, and Jim Craig, Batman: Gotham by Gaslight, is co-producer. The executive producer is Sam Register. NetherRealm's Ed Boon is a creative consultant. Here's the logo for the animated movie. Ooh, very nice. Mortal Kombat started life as a video game in 1992 when it was created by Boon and Tobias. It went on to be one of the most profitable gaming franchises of all time, selling 49 million copies across dozens of games and expansion, including last year's Mortal Kombat 11, which was the 5th best seller of 2019 across all gaming platforms. Mortal Kombat launched as a live-action movie property in 1995, with New Line currently making a new live-action movie due out in 2021. Revenge of the Fans first reported McHale and Carpenter's casting. Okay, take it easy, Trekkie. Dan says, TFW, you realize the voice actor who plays Raiden in the Mortal Kombat games also plays Old Joseph Joestar in JoJo Bizarre's Adventure Stardust Crusaders. Oh, did not know that.
Neat.
From what I'm reading from this, it's a star-studded cast. And like I say, Kevin Michael Richard, Fred Tatasciore is just going to go, he's just going to go to town. I mean, take into consideration what he does as Hulk, whether it's in Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Hulk versus Wolverine, Hulk versus Thor, or the stuff that he does in Earth's Mightiest Heroes and Hulk Agents of Smash, which is ridiculous on the face of it. He's going to have fun with that. And Steven says Steve Bloom does voice Sub-Zero in the games. Okay. Yeah. I'd say this is going to look decent. I can't add anything to that. Lids, you're up.
I'm actually really excited. The cast sounds really sounds like they picked the cream of the crop when it comes to casting. When I heard Joel McHale is going to be Johnny Cage, I'm like, perfect. Like chef's kiss, it's perfect because I've watched his stuff and he's kind of a bit of an asshole, just like Johnny Cage. So it's perfect. And like for what it's worth, I'm looking forward to see whatever they drop from this. But again, I will have to see a trailer before I can make a complete snap assumption.
I feel ya. Well, Raiden, you're the one who brought the article to be brought up, so go to town.
Man, words cannot explain how excited I am for this. Let's say the last MK animated feature was pretty much corny, but hey, it was the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I said, I'm pretty excited. Not to mention Warner Brothers is animating this, the same people that's behind the really fun DC animated adventures for the last couple of years, so I am just ecstatic for this all around. So, yeah, I'm pretty jazzed for this. And also, it helps me build up anticipation for the new live-action Mortal Kombat movie that's coming out next year, directed by James Wan. So,
Nice.
So, I'm super hyped about this. Like Liz said, I'm just waiting for a trailer at this point so I can just, enjoy it.
Awesome. Okie dokie. We're slowly getting through them. We're actually getting through the topics for a change this evening. That's something. I'm actually going to post something nice for this next bit. Oh, no. Wrong window. For some strange reason, Paint.net first started showing up. It's like, no, I don't want you at this specific moment in time. Sonic the Hedgehog movie director shares behind-the-scenes photo of Jim Carrey's Robotnik, which I'll also go into a separate window. Happy birthday to one of the most talented, kind, generous, thoughtful, intelligent, earnest, and oh yes, funniest people ever to walk the earth. It is an amazing honor to know you and thank you for everything you've done for this movie. And just so you know, folks, because it's via Chroma Key, people have started making memes already.
Of course they have. Of course they have.
Hang on. I should show this. Hang on. This is what I mean.
Oh my god!
Let me see.
People, do not give the internet ideas.
Oh, give the internet all the ideas.
The Sonic the Hedgehog movie is set to finally arrive in theaters next month, and while it's been a long road full of bumps, twists, and turns, it certainly seems like the folks behind the film had a good time making it. Take, for example, director Jeff Fowler. Fowler may have received the lion's share of vitriol after the movie's original design of Sonic was largely panned online. That's putting it politely. but he's maintained a mostly cheery presence over on time, sharing news and other tidbits about the film every so often. That includes, but is not limited to, celebrating the birthday of Dr. Robotnik himself, Jim Carrey, with a behind-the-scenes photo. The photo, which Fowler shared a couple of days ago, is of himself and Carrey on together on what appears to be the set of Sonic the Hedgehog. Carrey's in full Robotnik regalia and appears to be sitting in a cockpit of some kind with a green screen behind him. If the trailer is anything to go by, it's possible this is the cockpit of some flying machine or other, his Egomatic, but there's genuinely no telling given how we've seen of the film thus far. What do you think of what we've seen of Carrey's Robotnik so far? Are you excited to check out the movie when it releases next month? Let us know in the comments below, or hit me up directly on at Twitter at Rollin Bishop to talk all things gaming. Here's what Paramount Pictures describes the upcoming film. Based on the global blockbuster video game franchise from Sega, Sonic the Hedgehog tells the story of the world's speediest hedgehog as he embraces his new home on Earth. In his live-action action-adventure comedy, Sonic and his new best friend, Tom, team up to defend the planet from the evil genius Dr. Robotnik and his plans for world domination. The family-friendly film also stars Tika Sumpter and Ben Schwartz as the voice of Sonic. Sonic the Hedgehog is scheduled to release on February 14. The film stars Ben Schwartz as the voice of the eponymous hedgehog, James Marsden as Tom Wachowski, a police officer that befriends Sonic, and Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik, the franchise's classic villain and scientist. My thoughts with regards to that photo is just like, you can tell cast and director are getting along super great when a director is being that generous and rewarding towards one of his stars of the movie. And just to see that, you can clearly see they're just having a laugh. And from what I'm hearing with this movie, Jim Carrey has described his take on Robotnik as a magical experience. Now, this tells me of one of a few things. Either one, this is a side of Jim Carrey we've not seen for a while on film, that very sort of, as Kaiju put it, this very wacky, energetic and animated style of portrayal that we haven't seen since Ace Ventura or The Mask, or even to, dare I say it, The Cable Guy. God, there's one movie I'd like to forget in a hurry. Or this is just going to be like an evolution of his acting style. Point is, you can tell there's a lot of good camaraderie and good workmanship. When you see somebody being this rewarding towards an actor. And also, internet, you had to make up memes already. Actually, I mean,
it's the internet. What did you expect?
I think there's actually a couple more. Hang on. Yeah, there's one in front of a bus tour. Where is it? Oh dear. I thought there was more. Oh, never mind. Oh goody. I always find that weird when he puts his glasses on. You see, two things strike it. When it goes on to like the red glasses, you can almost see shadow in one of the lenses.
Oh.
Now, if I copy that into there, or is it just gonna notice when you go to that? Notice when the visor comes down and he's looking at Sonic through the red spectacle. I don't know whether it was intended to be a nod to Shadow, but the way that all the light and the energy and the aura is going around Sonic, it made you look and think, hang on, is that a nod to Shadow?
From what I've seen with the comics, what I've seen with the comics, like this one guy, Sonic Haru, says, "Is that metal on the reflection?" So that tells me maybe in a sequel we will see Metal Sonic in some capacity. So that's the way I see it.
They've actually referred to Metal, or Metallics, as he's referred to in the Fleetway Sonic, as the Sonic Terminator. Oh, that reminds me. Has anybody seen How It Should Have Ended? Episode of how Terminator Dark Fate should have ended?
I have not, actually.
Oh,
me neither.
We're gonna go have fun now. Hang on a sec. Hang on.
Grab my headphones.
Yes! Oh, they've even done it in 4K. Nice. Hang on a sec. Alright. I'll let you guys catch up to speed.
Oh God, no! I see Doc Brown.
Oh God, this is gonna end well.
Oh no. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but this is gonna be good. Let me know when you're when you're both at 0-0.
Okay, hang on.
I'm at zero. I'm at 0.
Hang on 1 sec. I'm at. Wait. All right, I'm ready.
3, 2, 1. I'll be back. Play.
Okay, there's a parachute in the back. We can tangle him up. Wait for him to attack, and then we move. Okay.
And dead.
Ow, nuts.
Yeah, because that's not creepy at all.
I won't let her die for me again.
Then you need to be ready.
What the hell?
Sarah, you gotta come back with me.
What
So,
the
this is
heck?
the character that pissed you off so much, huh, Lydia?
About your kid.
Are you telling me that all I have to do is wait until time travel exists and I can rescue my son?
Precisely, Sarah. Except instead of waiting years and years for you to make that journey, I decided just to come to you. I know a thing or two about course correction in the future.
He does.
He kind of
What the heck
does.
just happened?
You see, Sarah, your son's death caused a new timeline of copycat Terminators. Without you being there to guide John and pass on your wisdom, millions of humans were cheated out of a leader they so desperately waited years to have. By giving up on your boy and forcing the new girl to take his place, it caused a colossal collapse of faith in the franchise. I mean,
Thank you.
Not really noticed.
they never move on, Sarah. You mean too much to them. You're more than just a womb. Now quick, we have to hurry.
Anyway,
Jesus Christ.
Goodbye.
Wait, stop! You don't have to melt him! Who are you?
She looks just like you, but old and flabby.
Terminator, kill it, Mom!
No, just you from the future.
Oh, the
But
flabby.
there is actually another
The way
Terminator
you
out
said
there,
it.
just like him, still looking for you. And he kills John right after this scene, so don't melt that one. Oh my gosh, this is exhausting.
Oh,
It is.
so
The good news is the
okay.
T-800s can all become nice now.
Yeah, the one that kills you moves in with some weird lady in the woods and becomes her nanny or something. That sounds kind of lame.
Trust me, it's better than other ways this story could have gone. Okay then.
She has a
what do we
point.
do?
She has a point.
We terminate the Terminator.
Ah!
I need your arm, your face, and your CPU chip smashed to pieces.
Oh! What the
Hasta
hell?
la vista, Carl.
Easy money.
worked.
Doc, they erased!
Of course they erased!
What does it mean?
It means the future is whatever you make it. So make it a good one.
We will, Doc. We will.
Actually, your future feels kind of done, so maybe don't do anything more from this point. Yeah, you should probably just stop now.
Thank you.
Okay, I am back.
Yes, you know what? I like this. I like this.
Where did this happen?
I like this.
Thank you.
I like this.
You gotta
Much
love
better.
it. You gotta love these guys.
They made it better. They made it better. And I didn't even watch the movie. Thank God.
Next.
Oh no.
Oh Lord.
Yes. Oh my God.
That was great.
If only Doc Brown was there, that would have made the movie so much better.
Oh. Dan's being a savage, but he's saying what we're thinking. That how it should have ended short was way better than the actual movie. Oh, fuck yeah.
Oh my God. He's not wrong.
Yes.
Just saying, he's not wrong.
Yeah. Oh, good lord. But
Yes.
so as I said in the comment section here, Doc for the win. Oh, I like this. You probably should just stop now. That's what everyone has been saying, laughing my ass off. You probably should just stop now. That's all they had to do. It's so simple. How Rise of the Skywalker should have ended. Palpatine, I am the Sith. Rey, and I am... and all the Jedi. Batman, and I am Batman. Force Lightnings, Palpatine's killing him. How did you... 'Cause I'm Batman!
Yes.
Doc should just go around fixing movies. Yep. How the Terminator franchise should have ended. Ends at Terminator 2. My Terminator timeline is the Terminator 2, and how it should have ended. Dark Fate. I like this. I didn't even watch Dark Fate, and I prefer this thing.
Yes. Thank you.
This is 1,000 times better than Dark Fate. Liking? The future is what you make it, so make it a good one. Words of wisdom. She looks like you, but old and flabby. Damn.
That is straight up savage. She looks like you, but old and flabby.
It caused a colossal collapse of faith in the fragile. I mean, the timeline.
Like, don't you mean the timeline? I know what I said.
I love how how it should have ended makes every Terminator franchise how it should have ended involving Back to the Future, but never really makes a complete Back to the Future how it should have ended. Well, it's because Back to the Future didn't need any correcting. Because it's just fine the way it is. That's why I don't think they go after it, because it's just like, oh, leave Back to the Future alone. It's, in my mind, greatest movie ever made. Subjective, I know. But how many other movies or franchises can you say where people speak so touchingly about it? Because not many movies, particularly the first one, is spoken of in such high regard. Even though this movie's 35 this year, people still speak from the heart about it, because even if it's your first experience watching the adventures of Marty McFly and Doc Brown, or if it's your 1000th time experience the movie, it always feels fresh. Always feels... I don't use this word very often to describe movies, but Back to the Future is something that's truly magical. You just don't get movie experiences like that anymore. I mean, I've told this story once or twice before, but I went to see the movie on the big screen, my first time viewing it on the big screen when they did the 25th anniversary re-release. And even though I know every single line before it happens, before any time Biff's going to screw up the make like a tree line, even before any of the Great Scots or This Is Heavy or the penultimate clock tower scene, it still feels fresh and new. And the usher that I spoke to, the Showcase Cinema in Bristol in October of 2010, I asked him, how's the movie been doing? He said, we've sold out every single performance in the last 2 weeks. This is a movie that crosses boundaries and generations because, and I've used this quote from Bob Gale quite a few times, parents saw this movie when they were kids, they become parents, they show it to their kids, it just keeps on going. Because it's a generational movie. It has something for everyone because parents can actually relate to when Marty is in the 50s because they remember when they were teenagers and they had struggles, just like we did as teenagers. They can relate to that. And, you have a great double act in Michael J. Fox, who I think it was TurnerClassicMovies.com to consider the most definitive character of the 1980s. And, when you consider all the other characters of the 80s, whether it's the Terminator, whether it's John McClane and various others, to say that Marty McFly defines the 1980s in movies, that's a heck of an honor. You just don't get this type of... It's going to sound cliche saying this, but the timing with all the actors that were cast for this, all the people that worked on the production and the actual crew to the actual writing, everything aligned perfectly because we're never going to get a movie like this. Probably either not for a very long time or probably never again. There's something really special about it where I read some of the comment sections on occasion where whether it's the clock tower scene or whether it's Marty essentially inventing skateboarding in the 50s, and I read comments from users that say they're 15, they're 18 or they're 21. They said, I'm seeing this movie for the first time and I absolutely adore this movie. It's like when most kids today that usually go and watch movies that are made in the now, and they're saying this about a movie when their parents were teenagers seeing this, that says something. And also, you don't get a movie score like that from Alan Silvestri. I mean, right, you kind of hear little bits and pieces with what he does with the Avengers movies, and that deserves recognition and praise all on its own for its own right, because that's become iconic. But it doesn't have the no pun intended, the timeless score that he provided for Back to the Future, because the score itself is like its own character in the movie. And one person when said that the score is done so masterfully that when you have that moment where the Doc is celebrating by himself in silence and then the score kicks back in, is what is considered a masterfully powerful use of the score. I don't know. There are probably like so many ways I can put into words of how amazing and how powerful that movie has been over the last 35 years, but I feel like it's one of those, you just have to feel it. You just have to say, you can describe it, but you just have to just feel it in the moment and just let it, and just experience it that way. Because Raiden, I'm pretty sure it was probably similar for you when Straight Outta Compton came out into the theaters. It's not something you can put down into words. It's just one of those, just be in the moment with it. Don't.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I couldn't tell you when I saw Back to the Future for the first time, but I could tell you where I saw like little bits and pieces of it. It was actually over by one of my grandmother's house, over on the east coast of the UK. I remember just seeing like these little sort of bits and pieces that were happening in the movie, and I couldn't make too much sense of it at the time because I was probably, let's see, it was 89, so it was still a pre-double digit by that point. And here's always the thing, your perception of what you understand and how you take things in is vastly different to when you're like 19, 20, or even 25. But I remember seeing, like, over time I catch glimpses of it again and again throughout the decades, because it's been shown on TV on reruns enough times, but it wasn't until I actually picked up the trilogy on DVD in 2006, because at the time Virgin Megastore was selling it for pittance, if I recall. Only when I sat down and watched it for the first time as an adult and taking everything in, I'm like, why did I not take more awareness of this when I was younger? Because the first movie, I think, is just so perfect. Because the writing, I find there's little to no plot holes with it. Every single casting choice is just absolutely spot on. And the special and visual effects still hold up so well after all these years that it's not surprising that for the 35th anniversary, Back to the Future is coming back to the theatre. And I can tell you, without any surprise whatsoever, I'll probably be there on opening day, probably wearing a denim jacket similar to Marty, and the usher will be going, "Oh, I can see what you're going to be watching today."
I want you to throw him off and say you're not seeing that movie. It's like, what? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm hoping what they're good, because from what I've been hearing, this is something I had said before we went on the air tonight. Until further notice, the plan that I'm hearing, what most cinemas are going to be doing for this year, is middle of July, for 4 weeks. The first movie, at the very least, is going to be back in theaters, and it's going to be in 4K restoration. The other rumor I'm hearing is deleted scenes are going to be put back in. Now, I've seen some deleted scenes that were taken out. It's probably not going to be much put back in, but apparently it might provide some better context for other scenes, so make of that what you will. But I'm more interested in just seeing it again on the big screen, because I remember walking out of it in 2010 after the credits rolled. I'm like, imagine what part 2 would have been like seeing on the big screen. And I would have had that chance in 2015, but I'm not going to go into too many details, but there was money problems at the time.
No.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into that on air, because that's not for anyone to hear.
Mm-hmm.
But part 3 also turns 30 this year, so I'd like to think that one will be given the rescreening at the very least. But I've got a strong suspicion it'll just be the first movie, and the full trilogy will be released on 4K, and yes, I will be getting those. Especially if there's Steelbook as well. It's just like, we have Steelbook. I'd like to put a pre-order down for that. Yeah, Sean Retro says, as long as they don't censor Butthead. Oh, if they censor that, come on. Oh, that's Biff's signature line, aside from getting the make like a tree line, incorrect. Ugh. As like I say, there's just certain things that don't need to be messed with. Raiden returns.
Sounds like a movie.
The Raiden. I suppose I should, put this question out there. Raiden, when did you first become aware of Back to the Future, and what were your thoughts on it then, and what are your thoughts on it now as an adult?
Honestly, I just remember my parents had a VHS of Back to the Future 3, and that was the only thing I know about it. But it wasn't until I seen scenes of it and how just crazy revolutionary it was. It always made me wonder, what is this? What our future's going to be like? I mean, some stuff has come true. I mean, of course, the self-laced short Nikes have been a thing. Pizzas haven't been a thing yet, but give it a few years, I guess. The way I see Back to the Future, I feel like it's a cult classic, and you said it yourself. That's a classic worth not messing with, because it's how timeless it was.
Yep.
And especially when we got to that year in itself, it shows how beloved this franchise was, and of course, Christopher Lloyd as Doc Brown just basically giving that advice. The future's what you make it. So that's something I take with me since then. So, yeah.
All right. Lids, same question to you.
I mean, I watched it I think I watched part 2 when I was very young. I didn't get to see the first movie, which again made things very confusing as a kid. It's why is this happening? Why are they traveling through time? This is confusing. But it's over time I got to actually see the first film, and everything made sense. And I love this movie. It's honestly the perfect franchise. And again, if they try to remake it, I will be so freaking mad. It's not even funny. It's just, don't mess with perfection. It's no. You tried that with The Lion King, didn't work, did it? No, don't do that with Back to the Future, and we will have problems. Just no. But it's an excellent franchise. It's a perfect franchise. I mean, no movie's perfect. There are some hiccup moments, but it's not bad. It's actually really good. And that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. Nick Nugent went so far to say during the 2015 end of year panel is that Back to the Future is the perfect trilogy that should never be messed with. And this article is basically just going over what we've pretty much just said already, but it's also including a lot of details of what is actually happening for this year. Back to the Future 35th anniversary plans announced, including 4K release. Excuse me. 2020 marks the 35th anniversary of Back to the Future, and Universal is planning to celebrate. Universal Pictures is planning to go to town to celebrate the 35th anniversary of the first Back to the Future movie next year, and it's announced a bunch of ways it's planning to mark the occasion. A posh press release has teased theatrical events, which suggests that one, if not all of the movies are coming back to the cinemas. Right, I'm going to be pre-ordering tickets this year. But there's also confirmation that the trilogy will be released on the 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray format next year. On top of that, there's a new comic series coming from IDW Publishing. Playmobil has picked up the toy rights to the trilogy and will be issuing a bunch of stuff. There will be a new board game, collectible movie prints, Funko Pop figures. Don't tell Oni.
Oh God! No, please. No.
And a whole bunch of other stuff next to buy, plus the debut of Back to the Future the Musical, which debuts in Manchester next February. No official dates for this has been announced thus far. We'll definitely keep you posted where the theatrical re-release and 4K disc releases are concerned. Well, considering July 3 is the date that the movie was released in 85, chances are it'll be around that ballpark. And if all three movies are coming back to the theater, I'll be like, yeah, put me down for this one, put me down for this one, put me down. It's like, part 3, really? Hey, it's still a good movie. All right, it's not as good as the first one. I'll be fair. Back to the Future Part 3, these are some people's words. It's considered the black sheep of the trilogy. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as the perfect, the right way to close the franchise out. They've gone to the future, they've gone to the past, they've come back to the present. And it's actually one of the very few movie franchises where there is a conclusion to the story, because Bob Gale had said in interviews, when they were approached by Universal to make the sequel, because they weren't intending to make a sequel to Back to the Future. They just had what happened at the end as a joke, as a possible what if. It's only when they were asked will they come back to make a sequel, they had to find a way of writing around that. And of course, Claudia Wells wasn't available to do the sequel. They said, we'll do parts 2 and 3, period. No part 4. Although you could argue the Back to the Future game by Telltale Games is the unofficial 4th movie. And to the credit with the people that wrote the script for that, which Bob Gale actually did help write it, it does feel like a very faithful companion piece to the trilogy, because the stuff that Christopher Lloyd says as the Doc, yes, his voice is seasoned, but he's still the Doc. And AJ Lucasio, sweet lord, he sounds so much like Michael J. Fox. It's eerie. Even like the little mannerisms in his voice, where it's like, will I ever see you again? I guarantee it. I mean, alright, it's never going to be spot on 100% identical, but there's enough similarities with the mannerisms, the pitch, the cadence to be like, that's Marty. Even Christopher Lloyd got caught off guard when he heard the recording. He said, I could have sworn blind that Michael was in the next room with me. Sean Retro says, who remembers the Back to the Future cartoon? I remember bits and pieces.
I definitely remember a little bit of it, especially when it was airing on Fox Kids one time.
The problem is, from what I heard, because I watched mimic Western comedies look back at the franchise, and apparently they did like this annoying trope that they did throughout the 90s. They would focus on the lesser characters from the movies, because the series mostly focused on Jules and Vern rather than Doc and Marty, because Marty's basically like a secondary character in his own series. And it's just like, but Marty was like, you know, like one of the two main characters. It's like, let me think of an example. It'd be like making a new Power Rangers series, but let's say Jason and Tommy are tertiary characters and it just focuses on Bulk and Skull. Now, Bulk and Skull are entertaining, but they're not Power Rangers. Steven says, I like the train scene. Yeah, I like the Western theme. They describe the first movie as a very sort of 80s movie with, you know, how people are very materialistic with it. Second movie was very technologically advanced, but the third movie was what they call a very human journey. You know, people sort of confronting their own faults and you know, the ability to try and get past their own little imperfections, like Marty getting, you know, learning the value of self-worth by not caring what people thought about him. Because that happens with part 3 when he just sort of looks at Mad Dog Tan and just goes, he's an asshole. And I'm like, I just love the delivery of that. It's like, I think you're nothing but a gutless yellow turd. Slight little dramatic music and just goes, he's an asshole. And I read one comment goes, I could listen to this all day.
An asshole.
I don't know what it is. It's just Michael J. Fox just delivered that so perfectly. I'm just like, nice. Or one that just gets me laughing, but it also shows the how close Marty and Doc were as friends. Is just after he'd saved him from being hung at the clock tower, he goes, Marty, you're gonna have to do something about those clothes. You walk around town like that, you're likely to get shot or hanged. What idiot dressed you in that outfit anyway? You did. Because 1955, Doc thought that's what people look like in a Western. No. Maybe in a Western if it was set in the 1980s, but not in 1885. That's the other thing I noticed with part 3. You notice where the Tannen family gets all of their idioms from, for lack of a better word. But it's just the thing that doesn't matter what era it's in, a Tannen is a dumbass. And a Tannen always manages to get dumped in manure. Oh dear. Like I say, I don't dislike part 3 at all. It was just the right way to end it, because let's be frank. In a movie setting, what more stories could you tell with those two?
Not that much. I mean, if you could do if you could do like a cartoon or comic, you could do all kinds of adventures. But I don't know if that can translate well to film. If you get my drift.
I mean, the only other story that you could probably tell if you so badly wanted to is have them going back to the time of the dinosaurs, but that would only work if they had Mr. Fusion. And the problem that you have is if you go back to the time of the dinosaurs, it's like, you best make sure you have gasoline in the DeLorean, because we saw what happened in part 3 when Marty landed. It's you rip the fuel line. Ugh. Dancer's asking, if Terminator has an animated series back during the height of its popularity, like say around the 90s, what kind of series could you see the show being? I probably would say the type of darkness of Batman the animated series, but with a little bit of humor. Guys, I'm aware that they actually went to the time of the dinosaurs in the cartoon. I'm talking about in the actual movie. If they ever decided to do that for real. I know they did that on the Back to the Future ride where teenage Biff managed to get the DeLorean. God help us if they ever did that as a movie.
Oh, man.
They changed the past in an alternate future ruled by dinosaurs. Oh, that'd be an interesting day at the office. But yeah, like I say, psyched for the fact that they're bringing it back, and I've actually got a little treat. This is going to shock you, how well and how detailed the guy that did the editing for this managed to do the deep fakes so well. This one's only 320, but you're going to get an idea of how well this is done. I'll wait till you guys get to 0.
Alright, I'm at 0.
Okay. It's
Alright, I'm at 0.
3, 2, 1. Let's do it. Play.
Future. Unbelievable. I gotta check this out, Doc.
Go around the corner into the Cafe 80s.
Cafe 80s.
Don't talk to anyone. Don't interact with anyone.
What about Jennifer? We're not just gonna leave her here.
Don't worry, she'll be safe.
The future.
Say that!
This is where the clock tower used to be.
Oh,
wow.
This is good.
Huh.
And this is with free software as well.
This is where it all started, 60 years ago. You still haven't fixed that clock?
Oh my god, this is nuts! I'm watching Sharknado, why?
Oh my god.
I thought there'd be flying cars, not flying jaws. Sharks look pretty real, though.
Oh, that's clever, okay. Oh!
President's Goldie Wilson. I mean, he said he was gonna make something of himself.
President? You know, that's a good idea. I could run for president. I'd be the most powerful man in the world. Thanks a lot, fella.
No, Doc said don't talk to anybody.
That doesn't look like a Cafe 80s.
Didn't really say anything, but, you know.
Don't interact with anyone.
Oh my god! Oh my god.
You gonna order something?
Yeah, give me a slice.
Slice of what?
Right, how about a Coke Classic?
Coke Classic is back? You want a slice of Coke Classic?
Just give me some with caffeine in it.
It's like, take your break, you asshole.
Espressos and
What the
Mechas.
hell's a Starbucks?
You'll find out.
All I really wanted was a Pepsi.
Did they steal your... Oh, no!
Jennifer's gone. No. Damn it. Why do we have to leave her alone? Wait a minute. I've got a time machine.
Oh, no!
Just go back.
There, man.
Power circuit's on. Flux capacitor fluxing. Engine running. All right. No. Come on, not this time.
That's why you don't leave the car running, Marty.
Come on. Son of a bitch.
Oh my god.
Okay. Alright, I'm intrigued now.
That's insane.
Oh, look at some of these comments. Oddly enough, he wouldn't look out of place with the clothes he's wearing. A lot of kids today dress weirder than him. Ouch. He looks like a reptilian trying not to change. Glad to see Goldie Wilson in this. Yeah, the hell is a Starbucks?
All I wanted was a Pepsi.
Oh god, but that's just how detailed.
Oh my god, one of the comments. He looks like a reptilian trying not to change. I'm like, okay.
But that's just how good deep fakes are getting, because I mean, alright, it's not 100% perfect, but compared to what we've seen with other movies where they try to either paste somebody else's face on or try to de-age someone, and you've got people with free software like this that where it's eerie. I mean, have you seen I'll show you this other scene later when we go off air, but have you seen somebody finally making the Sylvester Stallone Terminator 2 scene come to reality?
Oh my god. One of the comments said, looks more like Eric Stoltz. So I'm like, oh, that's a deep cut.
Damn. But yeah, that's just how good they're getting. And I mean, yeah, like I say, there are a couple of glitches, like when you're looking in from a side angle, there's a little bit of inconsistency, but it does show you where it's going. Because if you didn't know any better, you would have said that was Michael J. Fox from 35 years ago.
Yeah?
I mean, but this sort of tech, let's just say, for the sake of example, you could have Raiden's face pasted onto Wesley Snipes' face from Blade.
Oh, am I dreaming?
There. May as well go into 2 of 3. Oh, it's only 3 minutes long, so that's fine.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm at 0.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me just third part. See.
Alright, I'm at 0.
Hold on. Let me just find the. Okay, here we go. Alright, I'm at 0.
3, 2, 1. Resume.
Library closes at 5.
Are you the librarian?
Oh, well, today I was volunteer, librarian.
Hey, maybe you can help me. Do you know anything about Mr. Fusion?
What is that, like a YouTube thing?
Me too. No, look, do you know where I can find some plutonium?
Oh my god, you do not ask that question in 2015!
Pretty sure it's hard to come by. I don't know, man. Like the internet.
Wait a minute, I figured in 2015 that plutonium would be available at every thrifty and save-on.
It's not. But, you know, come back here tomorrow with your library card. I can get you on a computer.
Oh, you are calling the FBI in a bit.
Driver's license works. This says it expires in 1987, and Martin McFly. That's my dad's name.
Dad's name?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck!
My dad is.
Holy shit!
I'm Devin McFly.
Not Marty Jr.?
No, I'm glad he didn't name me that, because Martin's an old man's name.
Well, hey, did your old man ever tell you about a DeLorean?
A time machine made out of a DeLorean?
Oh my God, you're my. You're my.
Oh, that was awkward.
Librarian.
And who are you?
You tell me. What do I mean your dad. What does he do?
He's the Marty McFly. He's a freaking rock star. Right now he's on his, 1,000th coming out of retirement reunion tour.
What?
Or whatever. It's so cool. Peace out, bro.
Rock star. I knew I'd make it. I knew it. Shit, Jennifer. Wait.
Oh, find Jennifer!
Wait, look. Hey, you gotta help me. My girlfriend disappeared, and I gotta use a DeLorean to find her. Where can I find some plutonium? Quick.
A nuclear power plant?
Nuclear power plant? What about 3 Mile Island? What about the China Cinder? What about Jane Fonda?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Look, the life of a beautiful girl depends on this.
Oh, all right, well, you
Please
don't
tell
need
me that.
plutonium, right? You just need a lot of power.
No.
Bet your ass I do. 1.21 gigawatts.
All right, I think I can help you.
All right.
Where do you want the DeLorean, Mr. McFly?
You can put it by the garage.
Wasn't this Doc Brown's mansion? This is great. I thought this place was destroyed.
No. You willed it to my dad about 100 years ago. He still visits us.
Just knowing that your dad's a rock star. You guys must jam together, right?
You don't understand me any better than he does. I don't want to be a musician. I guess I'm like my grandpa. I want to be a writer. By both of them. Famous rock star, best-selling author. Big shoes to fill.
If you put your mind to
What?
it, you can accomplish anything.
I know.
It's good advice.
Okay.
I am very mildly interested in this. Seriously, this is really good.
Yeah.
Then why
Well,
can't
we may as well finish it. This is 3 of 3 with a deep fake. I'm just going to see what the comments are like. Yeah, I'll share that later, Steve, but because it's using footage from Terminator 2, yeah. I think it's Canal Entertainment. They might get a bit funny about it, so yeah. Okay. I'm at 0 for number 3.
I'm at 0.
3, 2, 1. Let's finish it. Play.
he accomplish not ruining a single birthday party?
Don't tell me he doesn't show up for your birthday.
Oh, he shows up and he rocks out. For my birthday, when I
can you pause? I got
some
some stuff to do.
Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
Hold, I'll be right back.
Sure, dude. Like I say, that's just how decent the tech is.
It's mine? No!
Oh, like this. It's hard to believe that the voice isn't a deep fake. Yeah, because the way that, he was, trying to emulate Michael J. Fox, it's just like... That's something else.
Before his voice finally changed.
I like this top comment. What the hell have I just watched? This was like a movie from another timeline.
Okay, I'm back.
Alright, let's go back to 0.
Alright.
Back to 0. Alright.
Alright, I'm back. Back to the 0.
All right. In 3, 2, 1, resume.
Then why can't he accomplish not ruining a single birthday party?
Don't tell me he doesn't show up for your birthday.
Oh, he shows up, and he rocks out. For my birthday, when I turned 5, he just jammed out while all the kids peed themselves. When I was 5, I didn't want a famous rock star. I wanted a dad.
Famous rock star.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, I guess. Check out his Vine.
What?
It's fine.
Oh, like video. Is this VHS or beta?
What?
Man, this thing is unbelievable.
You act like you've never seen a trailer.
Of course I have. I mean, R2-D2. What are these pictures?
Apps, music, games, internet, whatever.
You telling me this sucker is a combo boombox, record player, VCR, video arcade, telephone, and digital watch? And this is crazy. Did Doc come up with this? Jesus.
Hi, honey.
Hi, Mom.
Jennifer.
Damn, that's
Oh, no one. It
your
was,
wells.
I don't know.
It almost sounded like your dad before his
that's
voice
nuts.
changed.
I wouldn't know what that sounds like.
So listen, I'm working late tonight. Have fun with your dad's groupies and his regular hangers-on.
Sure, Mom.
Honey, I'm just trying to keep you from being too respectable. Bye, sweetie.
Jennifer.
Oh my
Man,
god.
she a sight for sore eyes.
Wait. Didn't you say that your girlfriend's name was Jennifer?
Coincidence. Yeah, you know, I mean, that is the...
Yeah, a big coincidence.
Say nothing, and you say anything, you fuck up the asylum even more.
I like my dad's music.
Oh my
It just
god.
feels like he doesn't even know me. I don't even think he reads my blog.
Blog.
It doesn't matter. Look, you need power for your time machine. Wait until you see the garage.
What the hell?
Don't show
Wow.
Whoa, that's heavy.
Yeah, probably all of them together weigh over a ton.
So, hooking their batteries up to the DeLorean, you think that'll work?
No, we're not in the garage for the trucks.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
Oh man, this is great. I'm gonna go back to before Doc and I left Jennifer alone, then everything will be fine. Hey, Devin. Yeah, I really do like that name.
All right, now you're weirding me out.
I'm really glad I met you. I mean, aside from helping me out, it's been educational.
I don't know what it is, but I think my dad is gonna understand me better now.
Oh, I guarantee it.
What's he gonna do? Okay, that's pretty cool.
Rock and roll!
Oh my god. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, that's rad.
The original channel that put this out, Back to the Future 2015, they released it on October 21, 2015.
Oh god.
That was frick.
Hey.
Oh, you just missed a treat win.
I don't think she can hear you yet.
Or are things lighting up?
Yeah.
Oh. Please hold. She doing something. I'm not sure what, though. We're experiencing some technical difficulties, folks. Sorry about this. We're hoping to get Win in. For whatever reason, there's technical faults going on.
Okay, can anyone hear me now?
Perfectly.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, the USB on my blue snowball wasn't fully plugged into the laptop.
Well.
And there goes Raiden.
Oh. The Raiden returns again.
Sorry about that, y'all. Mom called me on my phone while watching the video, so yeah, I had to help you out. Anyway, what's up, Win? How you doing?
Tired.
Oh.
It's a holiday weekend, so we had a lot of people.
Oh dear. Well, one hand you missed a treat. I just showed Raiden and Lids a deep fake of Michael J. Fox's face from circa 1985 pasted onto an actor's face for Back to the Future 2015, and even though I've seen this a couple of times now, they're like, what the hell? It's done to almost 100% precision. You'd swear blind it was Michael J. Fox from 85 acting in 2015.
I'll have to take a look at it at my leisure.
Although, and I say this, saying this objectively, I think Michael J. Fox today would like to be like Michael J. Fox in 1985. Although I did see one thing that was quite uplifting. I don't know exactly where this particular gig took place, but Chris Martin of Coldplay, when he and the band were performing Earth Angel and Johnny B. Good, they invited Michael J. Fox to play guitar on stage, and even though, you know, Michael has it bad, he still performed perfectly in tune.
Nice. Also, if I sound a little distant, I just got pounced by Navi.
Navi, we've had discussions about this before. Don't do that to your mother.
He wants pets behind the ears.
Mother, you will give me pets? Meow.
Yeah, he was being a little turd during every single D&D session this week.
Well, since most of you are here now,
alright. I have my cursor over the play button.
Hang on one sec. Where be it? Alrighty, I am at 0.
Raiden?
Same here.
In 3, 2, 1, it's opening season. Play.
Interesting.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Comic book movies can go down in history as being as some of the best, some of which to name: Batman 1989, Spider-Man 2, X-Men, Days of Future Past, and Iron Man. And there are some that really miss the mark, such as the subject of today's review, Ang Lee's Hulk. I remember being really psyched to know
Didn't
that
you
one of
review
my
this one
favorites as
time?
a child was getting
Couple years
big
back?
screen treatment. No, that was a Versus. I was a fan of the live-action Bill
okay.
Bixby and Lou
Oh, yeah,
Ferrigno
yeah, that was
series
a
and the
Versus.
respective animated series in 1982 and 1996. Although, it still confuses me to this day that when the Hulk changed back to Banner, his clothes grew back. After the success of 2000
Physics, what's that?
Spider-Man proved to be successful, all eyes turned to 2003 with Universal making the Hulk
Probably for the
cinematic
best.
debut.
I don't think
For the 17th
people would
anniversary,
receive it too well if they saw human peeing on TV.
The biggest problem with this movie
No
is
one
pacing.
wants to see
I
Hulk
appreciate that you have
Wang.
to spend some time with a protagonist and getting to know them with their quirks and traits, but the movie doesn't really get to know Banner until we
I
see
can't
him
lie,
as
the
an
whole
adult around the
story
29-minute mark, and it's
after the
11
Hulk stuff
more minutes
had
before we see
me
the first
just
transformation.
scratching my head.
We have a faithful nod to the Hulk's origin, where Bruce takes the brunt of the Gamma Blast instead of Harper, the lab assistant. That bit I don't have a problem with. It's the fact that it took this long just to get here. The first Hulk out does leave a lot in the shadows, literally and figuratively. Much of the first scenes with the creature does have him in poor lighting, and this is something that the 2008 reboot does as well. The better movie. And to be fair, I think this is smart, because the audience has to earn his full appearance. Which happens with the second Hulk out in Banner's home at the expense of Talbot, but the character's a complete jerk, so I don't
God
mind.
damn, so
The
uber
lighting
green.
is superior even when he gets
so
out into the
green.
street using the street lights to see him grow larger in size due to him getting angrier. Personally, I thought that was a stretch. but
Yeah, he looks more like the Jolly Green Giant on steroids.
that's another story.
Yeah.
I thought it was a clever idea that the Hulk's already within Bruce's genetic code due to his father,
Oh my
David
God,
Banner, which was a nice nod to the TV show, experimenting on himself in the 60s trying to strengthen the human immune system. And Bruce is doing something similar from a modern standpoint, but with these nanomed bots that go around and repair damaged cells in the human body. And what the Hulk needed for the door to open was being exposed to the gamma radiation. David was a callback to Bruce's abusive father in the comics, as his father would often mock and belittle his intelligence as a child. Another problem I have with this flick over time is that David Banner was not given the death penalty after committing domestic terrorism after setting a gamma bomb off at the military installation that he was based at. I'm pretty sure that most laws in the United States have the death penalty as punishment for committing said acts. This is something that the late Helsing 920 also pointed out in his reaction and review of this flick. The fact that it came down to father versus son for power, I suppose, was apropos in some sense. David had been searching for a way to eliminate defects in himself, and Bruce just wanted to help people and cure himself, which is pretty much par for the course for most incarnations of the Hulk. The man is always trying to cure himself because he just wants a normal life. And I suppose in a way he got that being an unassuming doctor in the Brazilian rainforest helping out the locals until a political enforcer had to make him utter these words. Which is a callback to Bixby's iconic line in the 1977 TV pilot. All in all, this movie
I meant
is
here it went a lot better
mess.
than it did for Edward
There are
Norton
some
in the
interesting ideas played with.
Yeah, where he
but what it
accidentally
boils
said
down
hungry.
to
Wait,
is a
that's not
director
right.
with a
Yeah,
misguided vision who had no business handling this project. And that's the really sad part. Ang Lee is a good filmmaker, but
he
even
is.
critically acclaimed directors make duds on occasion. And Ang Lee's no exception. In a word, Eric was miscast as the titular character.
I will give
He
him
had
credit.
the look
He bounced
physically,
back with
but
Life of Pi.
acting-wise, he was the wrong guy.
Yeah, he did.
To my understanding, they had David Duchovny in mind in some of the original choices, and that would have been an interesting scenario, as personally, I think David's a better actor than Eric. But that's my take. And I think Edward Norton may have been thought of as well around then, and that would have been a really ideal situation, because if you could take the writing and Edward from 2008 and put him in this movie with the great supporting cast and visual effects of this Hulk, then this would have been the perfect movie for the character. I just found Eric depressing. Sure, you feel for a guy who doesn't know who he is or where he came from, because that can mess somebody up inside. He did have good chemistry with Jennifer Connelly, who I really liked as Betty Ross. I don't agree that her performance was wooden despite what others have had to say. Jennifer, I found, was composed and moted where she had to, and was just the perfect Betty Ross. Betty acts as a go-between in trying to stop her father from keeping Bruce sedated and helping Bruce with his condition, which I think is the only way you can use to describe it. The same can be said with Sam Elliott as General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. This was a performance that deserved praise and attention. This is a character that had a natural dislike for the Hulk in the wake of destruction that he would cause. Whereas here with Sam, he acts more like a leader that wants to maintain control rather than borderline obsession with ridding the world of an uncontrollable force of nature. Nick Nolte, oh boy, where do I start? Would you like some ham with that salad, sir? I know over the years I've been known to use the phrase when actors enjoy what they do too much, and I feel like this is pretty much the case with Nolte, as I felt like he was competing with Sir Anthony Hopkins to see who could chew the scene more.
That's your answer. And indeed you shall die. And be reborn. A hero. Of the kind that walked the earth long before the pale religions of civilization infected humanity's soul.
Don't get it twisted, Nolte's a great actor, but I think this is one of those times where someone should have pulled it back a little. I'm all for enjoying what you do, but then it gets to levels like this where I feel like quoting Team 4 Star's Piccolo.
I feel like we should be stopping this.
And the same could be said when you have him absorbing energy as he had mutated his cells with gamma radiation to become the Absorbing Man. I thought there was a unique spin on the character and not have it be Crusher Krill like it was in the comics and animated series, but movies like to offer their own takes on it. But Bruce is dead? Alright. And then there's Josh Lucas's Glenn Talbot. Jeez Louise, I never wanted to see a smarmy jerk get ripped a new one so bad. Now granted, it's not as cathartic as what Hulk did to Loki in the Avengers, but when you consider that Talbot tried to move in on Betty and tried to carve up a piece of Bruce so that he could weaponize the creature, to see him go out in a blaze of glory was really satisfying, even if the comic book effect did look a little too gimmicky. And I like gimmicks, but hang, tone it down. Seriously, too much is too much. To see Lou Ferrigno cameo as a security guard was a nice touch, and that would be repeated 5 years later where he would actually receive lines and free pizza. So, to sum it up, the supporting cast were great.
That man does not
but
age.
The leading protagonist should have been recast.
He's not
This
wrong.
is where
You're
the
not
movie
wrong.
really shines, albeit it's in one of the very few areas where it's able to, but when you get good graces, it's best not to question it. Aang went a little too far with the comic book transition edits. It's fine when you have one or two, but he was finding a way to fit in dozens that didn't need to be there. And that was a little too distracting for most of the movie. The photorealism was more consistent with this creature as opposed to the 2008 movie that looked scarcely better than an Xbox 360 character, which I found to be quite jarring. My only major critique with this version is that the shade of green was never consistent with the Hulk. He would be a dark green and later a very fluorescent green that made you wonder if one of his powers was the ability to change shades due to anger or happiness. Also, the notion that he could grow bigger based on his anger increase was less than plausible. Make him stronger? I can buy that, as anger can be a motivator when you're pressed with a rock and hard place scenario. But to somehow grow from 7 to 9 feet and then escalate to 15 feet is something that I don't think even the Asylum Company would do. And they're used to churning out ridiculous nonsense. I mean, just look at Sharknado. The idea that Bruce could sweat the change to his human form is something that I could agree with, because when you take into account that the human body is made up of over 90% water, to see him shrink down and shed that much water weight was scientifically plausible. So effects are mixed in some areas, but they succeed more than the rest of the movie. Not that that says much. I think the only areas this score does well in are in the opening credits and when the Hulk is out in the desert, because then it resembles more of an action piece, which is how the story usually is in the comics and cartoons, and considering that you associate action with comic book movies,
springing effects every time the Hulk jumps.
Have a driving music set.
Boing.
Unfortunately, this is
Or
not
better
the
yet, the
case.
Mario
There are
jump
a lot
noise.
of slow scores in the beginning that really does little to help the movie.
Aw,
To be fair
come
to
here,
Danny
Navi.
Elfman, he is a good
Come here.
composer. But when you listen to movies he's worked on, you tend to hear the same repetitive pieces in his work, whether it's the Tim Burton Batman movies, 2002 Spider-Man, or the 2018 Grinch animated movie. And that's present with the opening score, the first transformation, and the final battle between the Hulk and Absorbing Man. It's why I gave such a quick critique on it with the Hulk vs. Hulk review back in 2014, because you already knew what you were getting. To put it simply, this movie was a flop. It only took in $234.5 million against a budget of $137 million. And considering that movies need to cross the $300 million mark in order to succeed, then this failed. Badly. There are aspects that I enjoy from the supporting cast to the visual effects, but that does not save such a sizably budgeted project when you have the wrong performer for the lead role, a director who lacked the correct vision, and a score that you could tell was Danny Elfman's An Ocean Away even before seeing his name in the credits. Mr. Elfman, may I suggest range in future scores? I think if this entire project had been taken back to formula with a more streamlined and simpler format, then it might have been a more enjoyable experience. The movie series would be rebooted 5 years later with Edward Norton in the lead role, with a story that followed much closer to the TV series than the comics, with critics even citing that Norton was like Bixby reincarnated. It didn't fare that much better financially than this, but $16 million more is still more than what this took. It's a guilty pleasure at the very least, and that's being generous. I'm MJ Knight. And Hulk ain't mad, he's just sad. And so are we.
Oh.
All in all, this movie is a beautiful mess. There are some interesting ideas that were played with, but what it boils down to... Could you imagine the Hulk doing that? Betty!
No!
No line!
Yes.
Okay, honey, I'll get you your lines better if you promise not to wreck the set. Hulk, promise. You said that the last 3 times. Hulk sad. Hulk upset.
Hulk sad now.
And then there's Josh Lucas's Glenn Talbot. Jeez Louise, I never wanted to see a smarmy jerk get ripped a new one so bad. Granted, it's not as cathartic as MJ Knight has lost his mind. I had a mind. I would have thought after all the years of, doing the TNA reviews on RDR, I would, my mind would have been like, wait, he's reviewing TNA. That's it, I'm out of here.
Hi-yo!
This is where the movie really shines, albeit it's in one of the very few... MJ Knight has encountered Windows blue screen. Oh no. Let's get Dr. Kaiju. We'll have to open him up. Ah, did it! None of that.
No!
None of that. Dr. Kaiju Noir for Dr. Kaiju Noir for Frankenstein Operations Galore. Go to www.that'salotoffish.com. He's looking at me going, oh, come on, man, really? Love you too, buddy. Love you too. Why does Hulk have bloopers? Because it's funny.
Hi.
The bloopers might have been more cohesive than the plot. Ooh, I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? Hulk not happy. You're never happy. It's why you're always angry. Touche. The idea that Bruce would sweat the change off when reverting back to his human form is something I could agree with, because when you take into consideration that the human body is made of... It's gonna be one of those. It's gonna be one of those. Where will the bloopers end? Where will the bloopers end? Where will the bloopers end? Why'd I do that? I don't know.
The leader. Yeah. Yes.
She-Hulk, hell yeah.
There's more.
I decided to keep it. Oh good lord, I'm looking at the comments. Logic doesn't apply to some comments. That's if there's any ham left. Pizza time, bloopers never end. Alright. I'm interested. Let's hear it.
You did a good job, buddy.
There you go.
Really good.
I agree.
Raiden.
Really, really good.
What I have in the bloopers there is not what I have in the unedited one. There were a few Oni impressions. I decided to leave it on the cutting room floor.
Oh, I think you'd appreciate that.
Yeah, and the whole thing with Hulk and Betty in the original lineup, it would have been Hulk sad, Hulk upset Betty, Hulk get no fun from Betty, winks at the camera, and Lydia be like, ah, no!
Oh god.
Yeah, I decided to leave that out. I thought, no. Even in, something that's meant to be for adults, even they'd be like, no, I don't need to picture that. That's just, no.
Evie.
Evie, be a good kitty.
Navi, I know you want to watch it again, but please.
Mother,
Oh,
Pause
mother,
off the
we shall
lap.
watch it again. Wow.
Mother, I'm simply trying to launch my YouTube career like Butters the Bean.
Meow. Meow.
I was glad that you got that. You know that you got some of the gags, like particularly when I took a jab at Sharknado. I thought what I would do with some of the gags in it would just be subtle rather than a joke that would be telegraphed before you would see it. So that's why I thought putting in the pizza time thing was, rather than hear him say pizza time, just have the pizza time clock. And to be fair, I had to put Piccolo in there somehow because I thought.
I feel like we should be stopping this.
Some will probably go, Team 4-Star won't like that. It's like, yeah, well, Toei Animation and Akira don't like you using their stuff, their stuff in your work, so I think we're even. But, I felt it necessary to credit them because, well, the recording is of theirs, but, it's only Toei that own Piccolo, so... And what some of you have actually talked over is where it said the idea of Hulk growing larger due to his anger was less than plausible, probably less plausible than how his pants stayed on, and that's where Lydia holds a sign up saying no one needs to see Hulk butt again.
Oh no. No one needs to see Hulk butt or Hulk wang. No thanks, I'm good.
It's like the only compromise would be to do something censoring the bottom half, like a car covering. Kind of how the censored version of DBZ would do that with Kid Goku or Kid Gohan with like a little leaf or bush in front of them.
Yeah, that would definitely not fly today. Oof. And Wen got it completely with her sign.
Exactly.
I got the inspiration to do that one after. What it is Oliver Harper did a retrospect of the 2003 movie, which made me appreciate it a tiny bit more, but it's still a crap movie.
You're not wrong.
And I just looked and thought, okay, maybe it's time to revisit it again and see what actually does work. And the majority of my opinion hasn't changed, but there are still bits and pieces that I can appreciate with it, but it's one of those, it just felt like a failed experiment, That and I just decided just to be somewhat comical with it, but obviously not going to Looney Tune level. I mean, has anyone actually seen Nostalgia Critic's review of The Incredible Hulk? No.
I don't think I have.
I don't think I even want to.
He actually says a lot of things I agree with, but he does it in such a way where it's Doug being Doug.
You mean half-assed skits, half-assed jokes, and the little circle jerk of the same people in his videos?
Okay, first off, let me go have a look a second just to see how long his review is, and I'll only show enough just so you get the context. Nostalgia Critic. Right, how long is... Yeah, we're only going to watch the first 5 minutes because his goes on for 33 minutes.
Oh, sweet mother lord Jesus.
Goody.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not doing any more than, like I say, the first 5 minutes because that's too much.
I'm still having flashbacks from the wall.
I've erased that from my memory.
I'll make up for it later by taking pictures of Navi. Who right now is climbing on me. I think he's trying to sit on my shoulder again. But I'm ready to click whenever everyone else is.
Same.
I'm ready.
Same.
3, 2, 1, play.
Nostalgia Critic, critic of nostalgia, searching for a movie to tap into the inner frustrations every movie nerd has. Then, a viewing of a fascinatingly misdirected movie alters his chemistry. And now, whenever he hears any mention of the movie Hulk, a startling metamorphosis occurs.
Malcolm, Tamara, do not show me that movie. You wouldn't like me when you show me that movie. I exploded.
Oh, that's stupid. Why? Why?
Oh, somebody do pick up that phone because I fucking called it!
The critic's patience is believed to be dead, and he must let the world believe it is dead until he can find a way to control the whiny bitch fits that dwells within him.
Oh, you mean the usual bits. Oh, apparently he reviewed the Beverly Hills Chihuahua movie.
Oh, God.
I'm not joking!
Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic guy. Remember it so you don't have to. You know, this should be the easiest guy to make interesting. The Incredible Hulk is a classic Jekyll and Hyde story about scientist Bruce Banner whose experiment goes wrong and turns into a giant green monster whenever he gets angry. It has both the psychological and physical elements that usually make for great classic storytelling. Yet his cinematic ventures have been so underwhelming that despite him being many people's favorite parts in other movies, no solo movies are planned in the near future. And that all started with the simply known as Hulk.
You do realize that they haven't made a movie for good reason,
A story about
right?
a giant green
He does
monster
know
be
this.
boring? That was the challenge presumably given to director Ang Lee. He just finished a winning streak with his martial arts opus Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, winning over box office, critics, and too many awards to count. So producers immediately said, we want that for our action-packed Hulk movie. But what they were missing is that Ang Lee usually did social dramas. He did Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon because he always wanted to do a martial arts movie. One martial arts movie. He brushed up for years on martial arts flicks so he could figure out how to do it right. With Hulk, very clearly he was a director for hire, and saw this more as a means to experiment rather than bring a lifelong dream to life. And much like Bruce Banner, this experiment would haunt him for the rest of his days. He certainly recovered and returned back to his comfort zone, but the mark this movie left on comic fans is probably the most uniquely bad since this.
This is why Superman works alone.
But while that was bright and colorful and at least made little kids happy, this would only make that kid who stands in the corner saying, I'm bad, I'm bad, I'm bad, happy. Because he's gonna set someone on fire. So, why is this the most intriguing and yet somehow also most boring with missteps? Well, let's make everybody angry with Hulk. Whoa, tone down those expectations there. This is not the movie you're going to get. No, let's instead do those early 2000s credits of blurry close-ups mixed with sped up and slowed down editing. I've always wanted to see an intro with my glasses off and a monkey playing with the remote. Okay, Coco, push play. No, now you're fast forwarding. No, now you're slowing it down. No, now you have it on extreme zoom. Extreme zoom. No, pull it back to normal. This is the best way to watch this movie. Oh, if you think this style is only done in the credits, your senses are in for a bludgeoning. Because there's
what you will about the credit, but half and half.
Film. And I mean the entire film.
For the most part, I will admit that. I was like, I've caught myself laughing every once in a while. Okay, what the hell?
Oh, God.
If you find this mildly annoying, then just add 2 hours of it and that M will quickly turn upside down. Like me, you might be wondering, what's the point of all these transition tricks? Trixitions, as I like to call them. My best guess is Ang Lee wanted to create the closest thing he could to a comic book, meaning the film literally has panels, speed lines, and elements of space and time overlapping each other. There's just one problem with that, though. If you're adapting a book, would you constantly put words all over the goddamn place? This is way too friggin' literal!
Gamma decontamination will occur.
Okay. I take it back. There's 2 problems with this technique. In a comic book, these are used to suck you more into the story.
I tapped
out
off
the page and brings you into the reality. This is constantly taking you out of what's going on. You can't ever breathe in the world because the movie's too busy trying to physically show you the lines that they're supposed to be breathing in.
Gamma decontamination will occur in 30 minutes.
I take it back. There's 3 problems with this. I'm sorry to dwell on this so much, but this is literally throughout the whole goddamn film. It's best to tackle it in one. Other movies like Spider-Man and Sin City look like the comics they portray to create a stronger environment for their world. They're adventurous, they're action-packed, they're totally over the top. You know what this film mostly consists of?
Are we passing inspection? Safety's all going green.
That! A lot of sitting around and talking! So the style doesn't even match the tone. It's like they realize there's no friggin' excitement in this flick, so to remind you it's even supposed to be a comic book film, they're like, throw some Comic Sans in there, put that frame there, that frame over there, and make it look like the Brady Bunch. Comics! We get this!
Make it look like the Brady Bunch? What the fuck?
On second thought, maybe we don't. Where the hell was there a comic that had imagery like that? Maybe if I read it while doing this.
I swear, this reminds me of that
movie. Focus of
movie.
comics. We're
it was called
really putting the
Dreamcatcher.
camera on this? We're this bored this early? Unless this is Treebeard's porn stash. Why are you shooting that? So something tragic happens in Bruce's past that he's repressed, and with his dad taking his mother screaming into the back, you can probably guess what it is. Oh, I mean, I'm gonna spend the whole entire film wondering what that— he kills his mom! Come on! It even cuts immediately to a foster home when he's a teen. You think we couldn't figure this out? Though, to their credit, maybe his stepmom's disinterest is supposed to distract us from connecting the dots.
There's something inside you. So special. Some kind of greatness, I'm sure. Someday you're gonna share it with the whole world.
Okay, cut. That was good, but let's try something a little different here this time. Let's try trying. Oh, don't worry, stepmother. The award for
trying
clearly goes to Jennifer Connelly. I get the feeling every day she showed up to the set and the crew was like, "Okay, Connelly, are we gonna act today or not act today?"
There was some sort of explosion.
Okay, I disagree completely. I thought she was fine.
I was worried about you.
Not act today. Okay, it's a not acting day, everybody. We just wanted to know how to shoot it to make you look invested. Hell, I think the most gripping performances in the movie probably come from these 2.
Security ought to be beefed up a lot more in a place like this.
I really believed he wanted tighter security. And I really believed that Lou Ferrigno was, looking at him. Okay, I didn't even believe that, but he looked like this for years. He gets a pass. By the way, minus 2 points for even your credits not being consistent. When even your font doesn't know what it wants to be, you're kind of in trouble.
Bruce, big day. Just sleep?
We find out that Bruce, played by Eric Bana, is working on ways to expose gamma rays to electro-energy gigawatts capacitor. Sciencey shit where somehow superpowers are the wrong answer. They try their experiment on a frog and discover the results are a little too explosive. Somebody call Miss
You
Piggy.
killed the poor bastard, no!
You want to go to the review board on Monday and tell them we've developed a brand new method for exploding frogs?
Yeah. I think maybe there's a market for it. Frogs start falling from the
I know it was
sky.
fake, but still.
Who do they come to?
Frog had a family, damn it.
No, really, suck it in while you can. That is the only joke in the entire movie. Oh, excuse me, there's a bookmark of a man reading Fighting for Space. Okay, if you're really gonna draw this much attention to your transitions, I'm gonna draw even more attention to it by putting in the goofy sound effects they deserve.
Betty.
Okay.
This dick face makes
Why?
me smirk is Glenn. He's do exactly what you think he's gonna do. Try and steal Banner's girlfriend, get in the way of his experiment, and waste a lot of time trying to explain every boring reason why.
Together in this
How's business?
What do you want?
Your little molecular machines have some incredible implications. How'd you like to come work for Atheon? Get paid 10 times as much as you are now.
The Hulk! People calmly discussing things, staring at each other in silence, but look, green walls! It's kind of like the Hulk is there, symbolically! Oh, you just don't get it. You don't understand the layers of subtlety and conversation that need to be had with
song.
the Hulk!
I don't even want to hear that song.
Ooh, look, it's the film's
Good.
first big surprise. They got a new jam.
And that a repeat
Hey,
makes me
Benny.
want to just
Is he not working the night shift anymore?
headbutt something.
That's exciting.
Good to meet you.
Navi keeps trying to pause
the
the
classic
video.
mop transition I see
I think
so
you realize
often
it's like
in
you should
comics.
not be watching
Man, it's a
this.
good thing
Stop
nobody
it.
takes a shit in this
Let me
movie.
know if you've seen enough.
So Bruce sits around staring at old pictures of Connolly as his girlfriend. Oh, come on! Even the Kodak film has to run through the pretentious filter. I'm just waiting for the prisoner of Azkaban to knock him out with a bottle of butterbeer. This results in a flashback of when Bruce and her were still dating.
Tell me about that dream.
It starts with a memory from when I was maybe 2 years old. I was living out at Desert Base with my father. Suddenly I'm alone.
The Hulk! Talking about dreams, reoccurring dreams, with your boyfriend being your father and trying to strangle you. What?
Oh!
Well, that's terrible. You know it never hurt you.
What?
Okay, anyone that's new to the dating scene, I don't know what Ang Lee is trying to tell you, but if your date says they have a reoccurring dream about you as their father trying to kill them as a small child, out. Just get out. Don't even make up an excuse. Just flee. The only person you should flee faster from is Nick Nolte. Of course he's in this movie.
You may not want to believe it, but I can see it.
Nolte plays Banner's real dad. I'm not sure if he went crazy and then did the film, or if he did the film and then went crazy, but there's regret to be had all around. I guess he's supposed to be intimidating, but it doesn't really help when you're stalking a guy with 3 cuddly dogs by your side. No, seriously, this was supposed to be a threatening image. I'm sorry, the dogs goddamn ruin it. Banner is so intimidated by this that he actually closes the blinds. Why? Even the most paranoid person wouldn't muster a sweat from this.
What is that? What is that? Hey, buddy, Best in Show is down the street. When are you gonna break out the baton and have them bark ode to joy? Oh, thank God they're gone. I thought I was gonna die of laughter. Oh, they really need to be in a Hulk movie.
Bruce walks in to find
just
Smooth
me or
Suit Mc... Who wants to weaponize his ability to
Camera?
blow frogs?
Yeah.
About Glenn.
Yeah.
There's nothing to talk about.
Oh, good. Then do something! Jesus, we're a half hour in, and not only has no action happened, but...
Not gonna lie, this whole
What
review
do we
reminds
really know
me
about
when he
Bruce
did a
Banner?
review of that
He
animated movie
bundles
Quest
babies
for
in
Camelot.
other people's dreams? Well, that's the most I'm getting out of it.
And his whole gimmick was like, explain, movie, explain.
Oh no, something's happening. Stop before it leads to the dangers of interest.
Harper, get out!
The experiment seems to go wonky and Bruce sacrifices himself to a Photoshop filter. No, really, it's this one. See?
What is this guy? What is
Finally
the
leading
fuck?
to him transforming into a guy in a hospital bed. Oh my God!
How's Harper?
It's all right.
The Hulk! How's Harper? He's all right. We're gonna
He's gonna keep doing this.
Your name is not Grensler.
But hospital security is proving it's worth every penny as Nick Nolte and his presumably extended family sneak in to see Bruce.
You've had a terrible accident, so perhaps you should leave now. We're gonna have to watch that temper of yours.
Yes, Lord knows, this really seems like a guy who flies off the handle.
I'll be fine.
Whoa, hey, watch it. That faint whisper almost turned into a dull roar. Connolly agrees to meet with her father, played by Sam Elliott. Whoa, a car! Sorry, this movie's so dull I confused that for an action sequence. Who is also interested in their scientific discoveries.
Look, I'm gonna get right to it. This Crimsbury you work with, you know who he really is? How much do you actually know about him?
You ever notice how Sam Elliott talks like he has one last bite of steak in his mouth?
Well, right now I'm not at liberty to.
Yeah,
Look,
yeah.
I'm gonna
Chew.
notice some
Chew
things.
and swallow.
Ask me to make some
Chew and
inquiries.
swallow. It's rude to act with your mouth full. Don't make Marvel waste you in another movie.
Ooh.
Maybe this time you just.
Oh, damn.
honestly I really wish that I could believe you.
The teaser that literally looks like this. Was literally representing this. The funny thing is, we're about 45 minutes in. Well, okay, I guess they're doing the Jaws effect and trying to build up the green guy's appearance. But here's the thing, when he does finally change, it happens right the hell out of nowhere. Yeah, he's just sitting at his computer doing work and suddenly he's like, shit damn it, I want the Hulk! There's only so long we can pretend we know what we're talking about. Deliver the green M&M on Shrekoids! Yeah, that's great, that's great. We waited 45 minutes to see this damn thing. Please focus on the beaker. That is clearly what we want to look at. You know when Jaws did show up, they didn't focus on the life preserver. Okay, he's here. Christ, we finally got him. At friggin' long last, here is the Hulk. Get him the hell out of here. We gotta change him back as fast as possible for more boring conversations.
Were you at the lab?
There was that man.
Let me know if you've seen
That new
enough.
janitor.
I'm done. I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, I think we've seen enough.
No.
Made it halfway through. At least, like, we should get a cookie.
Oh god.
I think Navi might be traumatized.
Oh god.
Seriously, he's looking at me with this particular face as if to go, "What the fuck did we just watch, Mom?" He is not amused.
Oh god.
Oh, that was painful.
It's okay.
Not because honestly, it's not because the critic. It was because of that damn movie.
Cringe aside, he's actually on the money with that.
Excuse me.
Granted. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's the perfect image at 1558 where he's just cringing and face palming at the same time.
Navi, could you not bite me? I didn't say you had to watch this with me. Ow!
Heavy. Stop it.
My hand, I'm a butt.
Just be glad Navi's not Salem and just backsassing you.
Honestly, I would prefer the Salem style backsassing rather than biting and that little tail twitch cats do when they're annoyed with you.
I don't know why I said Salem because I'm just so okay. Off topic. I get it. Shit like Adventures in Sabrina is different, but you don't have Salem talk.
Yeah.
That's sacrilege to me.
Yeah.
Even in the comics, he talks.
Yeah.
Ow!
Naughty Navi.
Shoot, what I wouldn't do to have had Nick McCabe voicing a cat, I would have.
Unless anybody's got anything new to add, shall we call it a day?
No, not this time around.
Honestly, I was gonna have something for L of the Week, but I'd rather do it like next week. Because I am just
worn out.
Oh yeah. Okay. For people who don't know, the people who was going to give him L's was Justin Bieber and Baron Corbin. Bieber for that trash ass Yummy song, and Corbin whining like a little baby about AEW.
Well, it's Corbin. I mean, what'd you expect?
I know.
Dan, can it keep for next week? Because, like I say, we're kind of bushed.
That's fair.
Yeah, save it for next week, Dan. Just send it to my Discord, and I'll put it down for next week. Apart from that, Wynn's also tired as well, and well, Navi's being Navi.
No idea why. I fed him before I got on the computer. And I gave him pets.
He does say, what would happen if WWE and Fox were to do cross-promotion, have stars of SmackDown guest star on a special episode of The Simpsons? Just don't have any of WWE's writers do it, that's all I'm going to say.
I will say this, though. He was well behaved during your reveal.
Navi, I appreciate that. And also, meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. You are a good cat, and I don't know, have a year's worth of nummy treats. He's like, ooh.
I guess it could be worse. He could be Sylvester.
No. No.
That's why I said it could be worse.
And on that note, until next time, I have been MJ Knight. Good night from the night.
Hey.
Peace, y'all. Be back.
Until next time.
And